I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. Next on the agenda is recognized guests. No Josh, no Philip. Mr. I forget your name.
Mark Lauer.
And Roger.
How could you forget his name?
I
He was an
purposely
important.
brought a card home so I wouldn't forget. I'm not kidding about that. And I'm sorry, I always forget your first name.
Rowena.
Yeah, okay. Alright. Josh, Philip, you wanna go first?
Yeah, actually, most of you guys already know who we are. We purchased the Richford Wood Products, now it's Vermont Natural Forest Products, and we're doing wood shavings and of course the heating pellets. And we've got we've been working with Michael on different types of programs to help reduce our overall startup cost and everything, and we're looking at our taxing, our property tax value, and it's based on like 700,000, and we're looking at that and trying to figure out what that is and how to reduce the taxable portion of that. And we just wanted to come to the meeting, let everybody, so everybody knows who we are, what we're doing. And of course, with the heating pellets, the average Vermonter spends about 10% of their income to heat their homes. And if you're buying petroleum, 70% of that leaves the whole country. If you're buying wood pellets, they're sourced locally, manufactured locally, so it stays in the local economy. And that's a huge impact. And we're just, as we're starting up, we're changing out a lot of equipment, bringing in concrete, making the facility usable and productive. And the, up front, our tax expenditure is a big part of our startup costs. And we're like, if we could either lower that or look at some state or federal programs to help lower that, that would be beneficial to us and of course the community.
And the other question I guess I got is, it looks like to me it's based off $760,000 is what they based the property. I was under the assumption the equipment wasn't supposed to be part of that number, is the way I was told, was because the equipment can all be removed. So I was trying to figure out where the $760,000 worth of value comes from.
So that's something that we'd have to refer back to basically listers and town clerk, because we're.
Right.
But isn't that, is that how that works? That's what I understood, was it, the
They may not know
equipment.
here.
You're asking a
Yeah.
question that I can't answer.
Okay,
That's
I
the
don't-
best way to put it.
Yeah.
So you don't know it.
Michael
No,
can jot
no,
that
no
down.
answer.
Michael can jot that down and get you that answer though.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
But the big thing we're looking for is,
Taxes.
is there something that the township can do to find where there could be sources of state or federal money
Have you
that,
talked to REACT?
yeah, I was gonna,
Have you talked to REACT? There is a tax program for new businesses coming to
The
town.
tax program that we were aware of, it locks you in, so you
On
pay the same,
improvements.
yeah.
so it doesn't lower your assessed value.
Richard Rye had done it through REACT.
Yeah.
There's a program.
Yes, but it involves investment. Like if they built a new structure, whatever that increased their value, you could, as my understanding, it would play on that.
Okay.
But to help them straight off their current without any when they add on or do something, that is a possibility. I spoke with Philip last Friday. We talked about it. I had Michael do a little reach out to Franklin County North Development Corporation to see if there was anything there. Did you end up hearing back from them?
No, not yet.
I mean, beyond that, I'm not sure what we can do local. I mean,
Well, there's a process to appeal the taxes. You go, you write the letter, and this is the wrong time of year to do it, but
Right.
it's,
This time of year, the tax bills are out, it's pretty much done. But if you talk to the listers now,
Well, that's what we're having the problem with is we got the tax bill, but we can't pay it. Like, we got no extra money. We're struggling to try to get the bills paid to keep the lights on at the place. Well, that's why we were like looking to see if there was anything that we could do to get it. I mean, we already paid $10,000. We got another $10,000 bill. I mean, we don't got that type of money that most people that run a business of that magnitude got. We're just small town
as you
people
know,
getting started.
Startup, there's a lot of investment cost. And we're at that point where we're moving into production, but, we still have a lot of, things to get running right and get our production increased to a point where, now it's making money.
Yeah.
I mean, the average business doesn't make money in the first 3 years.
Right.
We
It doesn't
we hope to be
fix it.
better than that, but still,
Yeah.
And I think based
we're
off our
just
conversation,
at the first year.
you guys incurred many more unanticipated expenses. And like, I think what were you saying? It was designed to be a straw pellet machine.
Yep.
And you've had to upgrade a lot of stuff to make it stronger to handle wood pellets because it just wasn't industrial enough. So there's been a lot of cost. My understanding was a lot of cost, the additional cost above and beyond what you expected when you entered the business.
Well, and just like what Richford Wood Products went through, it's a pretty equipment-intensive business, and so they were dealing with mud and stuff like that, and we put a huge amount of money into getting our yard to where we're not going to be tracking mud on the road. That's so we laying down concrete and stuff like that to make it effective.
Right.
And so we're trying to do our part to make it all work, but it's a huge upfront investment.
We're also pushing as hard as we can to get the pellet side of things going because there's such a demand for it with fuel being as high as it is. And lots of people have reached out and want the pellets. So we're pushing as hard as we can to get it going, but it's taking every penny we have. And like I said, we keep thinking that we're gonna get this fixed and next week we'll be going, and then it's like, okay, now we gotta fix that. And it's just another $10,000. It's just that's a lot of money.
If you're looking for an abatement of a current tax bill or any portion of it, there is a process, and it would not be the select board making
Right.
any decision. It would be the board of abatement.
Mhm.
And the person you'd want to talk to abate any part of the taxes would be Kylie, the town clerk.
Kylie?
Yeah.
Okay. But also, I think it's the double edge where we're looking not just to kind of abate, but if there's some state or federal programs that, we can help get connected to.
Yeah, I think Michael will hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully hear from Tim Smith at Franklin,
Yeah.
or you can reach out again and
That's who you reach out to is Tim.
Yeah, think so.
because he would be able to point, the points of contact here or there.
So Richard Wright got it because he built more onto the building, is that why?
I think he infrastructure wise, he renovated the entire inside to do.
Yeah, and there's certain
But that's
requirements.
basically what
But
they're
that's-
doing.
You put
What
money
that
into
tax
that.
program is for somebody buying a business or adding on.
That's correct.
Right.
And if you're adding on, it's a break and the tax is only on the part that's
The
new
upgrade.
part.
The upgrade part.
Yeah. Which we're like, well, yeah, if we were doing that, that's great, but it's just that initial.
But that
Yeah,
program is
startup.
also,
5
it
years.
has to be in place before you make the changes.
Right.
So you've already
The
made the
changes,
changes.
the
We're not
the
doing-
changes we're doing is just to make it functional.
Okay,
You can't be,
I'm,
you can't drive equipment around in 1.5 feet of mud.
yeah, I
That
agree.
just doesn't work.
You
And
could have all that dirt back that REACT took from you and ended up costing us $60,000 to take it to the landfill,
yeah,
and it was dirt.
So follow up with
Yeah,
Tim
definitely
and
follow up with
just
that.
keep us,
Yeah.
if you make contact or not, maybe one of us can reach out and stir the pot a little bit.
And then maybe see Kylie tomorrow.
yeah.
Call her.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow's election day, probably.
Yeah, not tomorrow.
Don't call her tomorrow.
Yeah.
You might get a frazzle.
She won't answer the phone anyway.
Yeah.
And give her a day or two.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see what we can do.
Yep.
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
So.
Alright,
Well, thank you guys.
thank you.
Yeah,
We
no,
appreciate you guys.
thanks for having business in Richford. And
Definitely, we'll
you
try
know,
to help as much as.
we're very glad that you're here.
Yeah, no, and we do wanna, let everybody know that the whole community has been very supportive
Good,
of
Okay.
everything we're doing, and we greatly appreciate that.
excellent.
Alright,
All right,
Guys,
appreciate you guys
thank you.
coming.
Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Roger.
We grab chairs on the Our backs to you guys.
You just wanna get off camera.
Just figuring sunset.
Yeah, that's it.
We're basically here at Sherry's invite. Answer any questions you guys might have or anything we can kind of update you on.
The town clerk,
Yeah, Sherry and I were discussing that.
basically, this here, she was kind of confused by.
Okay,
So if you guys could do like an itemized, like we did this day, and this day,
okay.
this is how many hours we covered. So
Yep.
she, more than, just kind of 42 hours of this. It makes sense, so that
Yeah.
way we could actually see the extra days that were covered.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what that is there.
This is your bill for the extra coverage we had for you guys for 2 days a week.
Yeah,
This is
so-
actually, yeah. And Mark led this particular incident. So I'll let Mark speak about it.
Okay.
So what I can tell you, I didn't break down the itemized.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were looking for, so what I did do though is it was 7 officers.
Uh-huh.
For the one day that we were here and we executed the search warrant at the house on Main Street. All those officers were here on overtime because of other commitments. So we had 7 officers all working, it was 5 hours, I believe, total. So 7 times 5 for each of the officers, and we also had Border Patrol on scene. Now, Border Patrol didn't cost us anything.
Right.
And state police.
And state police. This is just for, the 42 is just for the execution of that warrant that day. So it's all the hours of all the officers.
Okay.
Okay? The 19 hours is for what Andre and one other officer worked doing, preparatory information, getting the material ready for the search warrant itself. Knocking on the doors, you know, so Andre was doing all that stuff after his school day.
Yeah.
So that's what all those hours are for.
Okay. Can we just kind of get that in the
Yes.
writing, that way when
Yeah,
we give it to her,
I'll get that
she'll
prepared for you.
understand that? Yeah.
And we're trying to also to get Andre to start. He's on a lot more than what we pay him for and what he
I
knows.
know,
So we
he
know.
is. We know.
So, you know, it's like,
We think the role of
He's
Andre
committed
too.
to the community.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much
We're
so.
it's gonna be hard to replace one day.
We get emails from him like, hey, I just got a phone call, so-and-so needs something, it's Saturday morning at 6 o'clock. I'm up and he's already out knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And he's like, and this won't cost you anything. Like, Andre, that's not how this works.
But no, he definitely is committed to the community and gives everything he has.
I don't know.
Yes, thank you. So if you could do that and then
Yep.
just send me another copy with that information, then I'll give it to her and we can
Absolutely, no problem at all.
have her pay that out.
I'm confused.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. And I know that no case is simple. But why are we obligated to pay for the investigative services? Isn't that part of what a sheriff does? I can certainly see paying officers that are on site, you know, serving a warrant and so forth, but we pay for, hey, you know, John Smith is a bad guy, let's look into him. And what you're saying here is we pay for the investigation of John Smith and officers' hours?
Well, this one was very specific.
Yeah.
You know, what we were looking for. I mean, there's a lot of hours that went into this that, cause this spanned like Chittenden County, Orleans County, Franklin County. So we were on the phone with those, you know,
Right.
sheriff's officers there as well. So I mean, those things take time to put together. So that kind of stuff was done pretty much on
Your
time
time.
that we're working.
Okay.
We're working the
Or-
shifts and stuff.
Okay.
This is all the additional where, you know, like we had to come up, we did I wasn't with these guys, but they did a ops plan. They met at the Enosburg outpost, and from there they explained, everybody knew what their assignment was, and they all came up here. And there's a very structured operation when you do that. you have security details, you have searching details, everything is documented detailed, so we needed all those bodies.
Okay.
And unlike, say, like, state police, you know, if they would've had 5 or 6, if they would've been doing this, it wouldn't have cost you anything, because they have budgets built in for that.
Right.
But when I put a deputy on the road, I got a bill for it.
Yeah, sure.
That's the way.
But I'm just, I'm curious, as we have a contract with you guys, and we're paying for the coverage in town, and it seems odd to me that, and I may be way off the mark, I'm just speaking for myself, not the board by any means, but it seems that that's part of the job description of working as a deputy or as a sheriff or whatever, in terms of, you know, making an arrest. Or, and I understand a lot goes into it, the ops plans and the security details and everything else, but it seems like our contract is strictly for paying deputies. Is that correct?
It is. The difference in this is that the investigative hours, so you're paying for a block of hours per
Right.
day. This went outside of that block of hours.
I understand
So
that.
once it goes outside, otherwise, if we had just tried to do it within the block of hours, you know, we have the element of surprise, we have the things that are moving targets. Otherwise, we would never be able to get this done.
Right, okay, I'm just looking for some clarification, that's all, because, I mean, I'm really happy with the end results, obviously, in anything that's been going down lately, but I wanna, you know, it's so hard for me to spend money.
Yeah.
You know,
We
I
get
just,
it.
Well, and how do you allocate it? Like, this was a much bigger than Richford crime ring. It was hitting multiple communities, you know, and I'm guessing you were investigating in all the communities. So even though the arrest occurred in Richford, do they, you know, because of the investigative work that you did in the other communities pointed back to Richford, does that cost get, I mean, because that resident lived here, do those costs get split? Shit. Yeah.
No, because we didn't go over into Orleans County other than a couple phone calls, tips that we had.
But I mean,
stuff
it was like
being
there were also
stored.
robberies in Bakersfield, Berkshire, Sheldon, Swanton,
Yep.
all within Franklin County. So we're all was that investigative work done in those communities spilled to those?
No. What was recovered, and if it went to that, it went to the state police case, and they closed it out. So we took the arrest, we got the property back. That's usually the way that works. It would have been the same vice versa had they come in here, had the lead on this. You know, and if they did, I'd have no issue with it. To me, it's just get the stuff off, you know, off the streets, get the drugs off the street, get the property back to the owners. I don't care who does it. We'll lead, we'll follow, we'll do what we need to do.
What percentage of property were we able to recover out of this?
We have recovered a lot of
A
stuff.
lot. We recovered stuff that we didn't even know was stolen yet.
And I don't think people knew were stolen.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, if you don't go look at your tools for 3 months, 4 months, all of a sudden you go open your toolbox and oh, this is gone, this is gone.
Yeah.
We're still getting calls today.
People were coming to the office, showing up, and they were looking at, you know, a table this long full of stuff, and they're like, that's mine, or that was my grandmother's. I didn't even know that was missing. So, you know, there were some very happy people when we got done with this.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
And we had to put them into it because it was consuming a lot of our time chasing these guys around
of course.
throughout Franklin County, and then it split over into Chittenden County.
And we're seeing a lot of activity in Enosburg that's coming here. We just did a warrant just the other day here again, out of activity coming out of Enosburg.
And that gets billed to Enosburg though, because it's coming out of
Correct.
Enosburg.
Right.
Is it all drug related?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Was it Riverside Park? Is that what it's called? Overlook Park? Overlook.
Overlook Park.
Yeah, we've had 2 overdoses recently down there.
Yeah.
Just something to keep
Across the road,
keep
the
your
Overlook
mind on.
Park, goes
So,
into the river,
yeah.
the canoe trail.
We didn't respond to them as law enforcement though, right?
No, it was just an ambulance call, something that you revive and transport.
Yeah,
So
okay.
And those get reported, Andy, right, to,
They,
should go, or-
it's only hospital, it's a HIPAA thing.
because we do get opportunities to monitor that, where the heavy usage is and that type of stuff, but.
That's what benefits, last night we had a deputy in town that we had a code that we went to. You know, stuff like that happens and they show up to that, you know, that's their investigation at that point.
Yep.
But to call out and say, hey, so-and-so was down there and they OD'd, and, you know, I don't think we can legally do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that works. I have one more thing. The schedule,
Yep.
I have a hard time understanding it, so, and I know we've had a lot of people complaining. Is there a way that we can get a schedule that actually like shows, like just the officer
Can I
that's
just
gonna
see
be in town? This is like all over the place for me.
We don't, the big thing for me on these schedules is I don't know if there are additional shifts in the day or the night, or, because it doesn't say, it just says Richford.
Yeah,
And so I don't know,
kind of confusing.
you understand what I'm saying? That, you know, I'd like to know when I can break the law.
Only you.
That's the idea, see, we gotta keep you in the dark.
No, we can get more detail on that,
Yeah,
Sherry.
just kind of what days.
Yeah, I just wanna,
For
You're
the
just
amount?
looking for specifically for Richford.
Yeah,
If this has
specifically
all
just
the
for Richford,
officers in-
yeah, that's
and just
that's
whoever's
a
gonna
different
be working
printout than
it.
I've seen, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I don't know.
That's what's shared with us.
Yeah, that's what's been shared with us.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
is that possible
I
to
think,
do that?
yes, absolutely, and I think predominantly, I could be wrong, but predominantly our officers are here during the evening.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that the school's back and he's up there, so Andre's in
Right.
school, so we basically count on the evenings for you guys.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
rest of you guys, should say.
Yeah, there are times when there may be somebody up here during the afternoon or, you know, working kind of a, call swing
Depending on what's
shift.
going on.
But predominantly it's night shift,
Okay,
Excellent.
perfect.
but I will get you a better schedule.
Thank you.
It's a common request.
I'm good. You guys have been sending your reports, I have the last 3 months, so we're good with that.
Any questions about it? Anything that you would like to see different?
No,
You'll notice that, I think it's in this report, there is a comment about the press release, the search warrant that I just talked about. Or maybe you haven't, that one doesn't look like my most recent
I
one.
got November 2nd, October 3rd, September 6th.
Maybe
Well, here, let
they're
me give
different
you
reports.
my report, let me make sure it's for you. Yeah. Can give you a Fairfax or
All
something.
kinds of confidential information.
Okay. I guess press release for the robbery. I guess we're,
And that's the search warrant that we just did, I think last week, and sorry,
oh
my
yeah, this is the
dates.
break-in at Crowley's, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not really a break-in, they're still open.
I'm robbery.
Armed robbery.
Nice.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay? So if there is something you wanna see different in that report, or you wanna see specific, if you let me know, I write the report, so I'm
Okay.
happy to put it in there.
Awesome.
I just need to know what you're looking for.
No, to me, it's been looking good.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's
the most
informative.
recent one for the board.
That's-
That's what I'm
That
looking
big
for.
thing, yeah.
I want you to look and
This
go,
one here?
why?
Yeah, the new-
Yeah,
most
right.
recent
What am I
one we
looking
checked
at?
today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
like,
it,
give us
November.
a copy
it helps a lot.
for them so they can see it.
Do you guys wanna see this one?
Yeah, I haven't sent that one out to them yet. So.
Oh, that's
okay.
why.
Yeah,
Alright.
That's one. This is
So we're
this is
like
one we got
Mushroom
today.
syndrome, you know?
Alright.
Keep them in the dark and feed them,
That's
you
the
know what?
second, and then this one was November 4th, okay.
Yeah, that we just got that one today.
This one or that one?
The one.
Yeah, number
November
7.
2nd,
Yeah.
November 2nd.
That's because they knew they were coming down to see it.
Oh, it'll be the same, the date
Oh, did I
will
say that out loud? I'm
automatically
sorry.
update for you.
Oh, yeah, this one still has it, yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Thank
No.
you guys for
No, I'm
coming.
good,
Yeah,
thank you,
very
thank
much.
you, probably worked an excellent job with that bus, like, without a doubt.
Well, there's not a lack of activity, I'll tell you right now, out there, there's a lot of it. It's all,
No,
as Andy was thinking, you know, it's just drug driven. You know, that's the least of your burglaries, your thefts of everything. They're trying to pay their drug bills. They're drug dealers are putting a lot of pressure on for their money. And they're doing this kind of stuff. You know, we stole some big ticket items. You know, you
yeah,
look at Champlain Valley Equipment for ATVs there and stuff, you know.
Or Tundra and trailer and
yeah, right out there.
Uh, side by side, right
Oh,
up.
God.
right out here.
Yeah.
Sure, there was a
Off
dump,
out of Weatherby's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the parking lot.
was a dump trailer out of Handy's.
I don't
Was
think
it
it
ever
was.
recovered?
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
I don't think so either.
They gotta have some facilities for that. Like you gotta, like they're moving that to a chop shop or out of state in a hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, or in this case, a storage unit in Orleans County.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Get it off the heat for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
yep, no.
There's been people taken.
It does, like, I mean, it was hot on social media, but since your arrest, it seems to have calmed down a lot.
I agree.
Like, people were starting, like, you were almost afraid there was gonna be some vigilante justice, it was peaking pretty hard.
We had that conversation about concerns.
Yeah, so I mean, it was escalating fast, and then it really subsided after the arrest, so that was good.
Yeah, the activity around the store has stopped, so I'm pretty happy.
We had a good case early in the spring where we recovered $85,000 worth of stolen goods out of West Swanton, and we arrested an individual and had another individual working with us that was helping us. But that case went by the wayside because the individual who was helping us got arrested as well. He was deeply involved, so it's like, so that put him back on the streets.
Yeah.
And that's what hurt us bad, because then they knew we were onto them, and they changed from like West Swanton out to this way. They really started stealing some stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you again.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for coming, you guys.
Thanks.
Couple of things. First of all, just kind of an explanation. Last Sunday, on the 30th, there were fire trucks and ambulance running around.
Yep.
And what was that?
It was just a Cabbage Day parade, that's all it was.
And I would have liked to have seen that advertised somewhere, because, I mean, it is using, the fuel's coming out of the taxpayers' money. It'd be nice to have the taxpayers be able to enjoy it, you know, if you go through that much. And there wasn't really anybody on the streets or anything for it. So.
That's why we were blaring the sirens. It was a quickly put together parade, so.
And the other thing is just let Wally know he can let the town crew at their convenience. The wreaths are all fluffed and ready to go up whenever
Okay.
it works.
When do they, how early do you usually have that going?
You know, that's all up to the town crew.
So
And
they just barely put up the veteran stuff, right?
yes, yeah.
So sometime after.
They're doing the tree lighting in the park on the,
26, I thought.
yeah, it is the
Saturday.
26th. They're putting the lights up on the 19th.
Alright, so
And
before
so-
that, before the 26th.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna let the town crew do it whenever it works into their schedule, and you know, if it's a nice warm day, they'd rather be out there putting them up rather than in a
But it
snowstorm.
has to be after Veterans Day, which is Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, so that's the guest. Discussion of sewer incident with Jeremy. I don't know if Jeremy's available or not. Do you wanna?
Yeah, I can address that. Up the road, 2 houses from the end, Robert and Shelby, they had a sewer blockage. They had to, of course, it's their sewer, so they had someone with a camera come. They came, they actually did a camera to look down through to see what it was. And lo and behold, what it was, the only blockage was a tree that we let beautification plant that we bought on property that we maintained, grew through the pipe right there, and actually left a big root ball and actually plugged it all up. So water and sewer took care of it. They fixed the pipe. They didn't disturb the road. They didn't disturb their property up above either. And the scope test with the camera cost $600 and something. I personally feel that's something the town should be paying for. Reason being is if we didn't plant the tree on property that we maintained, it wouldn't have happened.
The blockage was on town property?
Yes, it was on between the sidewalk and the road.
Okay.
To me, I think the town should be taking care of that. We maintain the grass.
No, definitely, I mean, the policy was always, as I understood it, and maybe you got some more information there, that if it happened back from the town right away, it was the homeowner's responsibility. But if this issue was on town property, then I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I can tell you right now, There've been a lot of people in this town, individuals that have paid out of their own pocket.
But was it
All
caused by,
town-
yeah, but was it caused by something that the town did?
Didn't matter, it was from the house to the main line.
Right,
To
but,
be fair to the people, I mean, a lot of people pay, I mean, most of these blockages have been either on town property or within the town's right of way.
right,
Because
but
most
what
of
was the
those,
cause?
to say that it was caused by a tree, I don't know what all of them were caused by.
But this is a tree that the town planted on land that we maintain, that's the only thing. That's where, my tree on my property falls on my neighbor's roof, it's my responsibility. If my tree roots grow into my neighbor's sewer and it destroys them, it's my responsibility. Gas leaks from the tank into the building next door, it's the gas tank's responsibility. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think your tree analogy is correct though. That if I have a tree on my property that falls on the neighbor's house, I'm not responsible for it, I don't think. They can sue me to try
I'm
to
gonna
get
say,
it,
and
but
I think
it's,
they would
it's,
get it.
like my insurance wouldn't cover it.
I literally had a tree fall on my house from my neighbor's property.
Okay,
Insurance didn't cover anything.
Yeah, right.
shingles fell off this roof when we covered that guy's car.
Well, that's different. Cause it's, no,
How's that different?
cause he has a right of way to use the driveway.
Okay,
And so technically, it's combined property. It's town and private.
I guess it's the same thing there too.
While we're in the process of discussing this, this was on something I was gonna bring tonight, and I don't wanna get too far off from this conversation. This is something that has to be dealt with. It's gotta be. Truthfully, and I know I'm speaking on camera, I think it's kind of bullshit that we don't have something in writing that addresses how we deal with these situations. We need something in writing. If there's situations that come up that require an exception, that's gonna happen. It should come to the whole board. It's been all over the place. I mean, I know of instances where the town has paid for things like this, and there wasn't a tree or whatever involved. And I know of a lot of other people that have paid out of their own pocket to take care of these situations. We need one policy that applies to everybody.
I agree.
If exceptions have to be made, so it comes to the board, we talk about it, board decision, we make the exception. But we absolutely have to have something in writing so that everybody gets
The same treatment.
the
Yes,
same
no, I
treatment.
agree 100%.
And I agree, Alan. I briefly talked with Michael, and I'm thinking after budget time, we get the budget out of the way, we could focus on the policy with everything going on.
I mean, I think Michael could start getting it drafted, doing some legwork, research.
There is a draft
There already
already.
is.
Well,
which-
then, you know,
Yeah.
maybe take it to the next step, and, you know, I don't think we have to wait as a board to start working on it.
We can't wait because we were doing the budget and it's like, what do we do? And the scary thing is, enough of these cases have come up now where there's a precedent that's been set that the town's gonna pay for all of this. If that's the case, we're gonna end up having to budget a hell of a lot more money to deal with these lines, which is probably gonna result in a rate increase for people. When we were working on the budget, we basically plugged in a number assuming that we were gonna continue with the current policy, which was anything between the house and the main line is the homeowner's responsibility. So there are some budget implications to this as well as a fairness type of thing.
Right.
I mean, if the board makes a decision that the town pays for everything,
I
so
don't think
be
we
it.
should
It's,
pay for
as long as it's
everything.
fair to
But
everybody.
if it's something caused by something that we did, I think we are to pay for it. If it's something caused by children putting toys down the sewer and it gets stuck, or a grease trap that plugs all the way down to the main road, that's the homeowner's problem. But, so there is circumstances where it should be and shouldn't be.
That was one of the first things I learned coming on water and sewer. Just, you basically gotta dig up and find out what the problem is
Exactly,
before you can make judgment.
exactly.
And I kinda learned that the hard way the first time. But since then, I've been very set back on, you know, I wanna see what
Investigate
the
the problem
cause
is.
is. Yes.
And once the problem is figured out of what the cause is, then we make a decision on if it's covered or not. If the town covers it, then we should cover the testing to find it. If it ends up being the homeowner's issue, they cover everything. Even if it means tearing up town road, they have to cover it because it's to the town line.
Did they call in the camera service at the town's direction?
Yes,
They did?
I believe
Okay.
so. They talked to Jeremy and Jeremy told
Okay,
them it
that's
has to be camera.
Okay.
That's what they were instructed to do.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying
Because you gotta know what the problem
determine
is
the
before we
facts,
dig
you
it
know?
up, you gotta know where the issue is before we dig
Right,
it up.
absolutely.
So to me, that's the difference, with the right and the wrong. I know I'm
think-
very,
I just think we need a standard, like you said, and it's got to apply to everybody.
it does, it
does.
should.
I mean, where do you draw the line? I mean, trucks driving over the road crush lines.
Mhm.
And it could be, you know, between, you know, there's places where the homeowner's line runs across the road. I mean, is that the town's fault? So
Yes.
we definitely gotta have some kind of standards, and
To me, if a truck is what crushed the line, it's,
then we might as well pay for just about.
How would you make the determination the truck's long gone? You don't know, it's not
Yeah,
in a
but-
it's
sinkhole or
been
something in the
crushed.
middle
Yeah,
of
but
it.
I mean, if the pipe is crushed, you know it wasn't.
The homeowner
Septic,
did
you know, toilet sludge going down.
Well, there's
crushing it.
a lot of old pipes.
It's not like it's, you know, a bunch of baby wipes and.
exactly, there's a difference in
No, I-
homeowner cost or just time and degrade that we haven't got to yet, that should be our cost anyway. Or, you see what I'm saying, there is a big difference. If you really go black and white with it, there is a difference.
So,
But how do you make,
We fixed a sinkhole
no,
that was
how do
on
you
our
make-
property,
I understand
and
that,
we paid for all of it. You see
but
what
it
I'm
was
saying?
a town storm drain, it was on an easement.
Yep.
Okay, I've had experience with this, and I've put out a lot of money for a storm drain that's not even mine, belongs to the town, and runs between my property and the neighbors, and they ended up cutting down all the trees there because the roots
Okay.
had grown into everything.
Yep.
And it was way back on private land, you know, and I shared in the cost, I didn't pay it all, but it wasn't even my easement, it was the neighbor's easement, but I needed to get the stormwater taken out of there. And it's, life happens. And I agree that people do less than intelligent things related to sewers. But you can't,
dismiss all those people that have already paid.
right,
For years, this town's policy has been you go from the house to the main line.
Oh, I'm not dismissing
And an awful
them.
lot of people have paid a lot of money to fix the
I'm
sewer
not
lines.
dismissing them,
and-
but my belief, if I was on the board, I would stuck up for them if it was our cause. If it wasn't our cause, then they should have paid. If it's our cause, we should have paid. And that's the way it should have gone, but I wasn't here to make that decision, or to help make that decision.
well, I say
Going forward,
we
we should
need,
be making.
let's get this policy, off the back burner. Michael, can you take a look at it and, see where you can craft it and make it, head it in the right direction and then bring it to us for a review?
Yep.
I mean, that's, we can talk about it all night long, but
Right.
that's gonna be the guiding document that gets us to the next step.
So you're gonna make that a priority?
I can do that.
amongst all of your other priorities. And I'm concerned, does anybody know why Jeremy didn't come to the meeting today?
Because
Vacation.
actually Jeremy's on vacation.
Oh, okay.
And
Alright.
I reached out to him to see if he was available for a call, but no, he was on vacation last week and I think he's due back tomorrow, if I remember correctly.
So who's running the
His.
protege?
Dave West, I think
Oh,
was probably
okay.
involved.
Do you have any other concerns with water and sewer?
Well, did we come to a resolution on
No,
this
I'm
property
thinking we
down
probably should put it to a vote, get it off the plate.
Make a motion, you made.
I'll make a
on that.
motion that we for us to cover the town, the camera testing, because we found it was our issue.
Okay,
And our cause, not our issue, our cause,
do I hear a second?
So what, so to pay for the,
to pay for the camera testing.
Just the camera testing?
We already took care of the rest of it. Jeremy said it was the town's things, so the water and sewer took care of the rest of it.
Also, the town's already paid for,
The only thing left was a camera.
wasn't that kind of a conflict of interest? Shouldn't that have come to the
I
board
didn't make
before
the
it was-
decision,
Before it was paid?
the water and sewer is the one that made the decision.
Water and sewer can't, I mean, Jeremy
They,
can't
it was
spend the
their,
town's
he
money.
figured it was a fault.
Jeremy said he treated it like he had
Any
other
other
people
problems?
in the past. That was.
What is the policy on that? What
It's
goes
a
before?
town employee, it should have come to the board as a conflict of interest. It should not have been,
How would that be a conflict of interest for Jeremy?
it's a conflict of interest for this select board. We're responsible for paying the bills. I mean, no one individual should be making the decision to pay a bill involving a town employee per our conflict of interest policy.
Can you explain a little more?
Well, I'm just, when I look
So-
at this,
So is Jeremy technically a town employee through his contract?
it's
So
strictly a subcontract.
so who is the town employee that we're talking about?
Whoever made the decision that the town was gonna pay it.
And Jeremy said he handled it like he did any other situation.
So and
but
how
he
does
said
how does he handle any other situation?
If it's
Who,
the fault.
who's he get
that
authorization from is a.
That I don't know. He didn't
And-
authorization
And
from
we
us,
should
so-
authorize it as a board.
Right.
Well, or at the very least, does it in the past has it gone through Kylie? Like, does Kylie have any sort of like intake on this, outtake? Like, what was your role when some of this stuff happened? As when you were
Whoever was in charge of water and sewer would authorize the payment.
So the only thing that I expressed to Jeremy at the time, I said, treat it like you would any other
Situation. of the same.
situation. And that was my direction at the time.
Yep.
so you authorized it.
I said, treat it like any
Yeah.
other,
Well, that-
yeah, I guess I did.
You authorize them to do it like they would any other situation of the same
Yeah.
cause.
I mean, that kind of brings up a whole nother issue about how somebody who's not even an employee of the town is getting stuff paid for, but, I mean, in terms of this, I mean, it involves a town employee, and I'm just thinking that per our conflict of interest policy, and I'm not blaming anybody here, but it should have come to board. That's my interpretation anyway.
So I guess let me ask this question, because this has been I guess like the blurry area for me, like as head of water and sewer, as head of the road crew, like what level of authority do you have to grant, if let's hypothetically say Slim needs to put a new drive shaft in the rear end of a dump truck. He buys the parts and puts, do I authorize him to buy the parts? Or do I have to come before the board and, for a $2,000 purchase? Like that's, so I'm looking for clarity
To
on
me,
that.
there's a difference there because he's an employee and he's repairing a piece of town equipment. In
Okay,
a case like this, it's not an employee involved and they're doing work on somebody else's property at the town's expense.
okay.
To me, whenever something like this happens where work is being done to a private property at the town's, maybe at the town's expense, it
It wasn't a private
needs to
Is
property.
be
that private
authorized.
property?
No, it was
It's the
sidewalk and the
sidewalk,
green, it
the
was,
tree, and the road.
yeah.
And so their house is over here, and then this is the sidewalk,
That the town maintains along with the green
and the
piece.
green piece here, is that their
Regardless of
property?
where it is, somebody else is benefiting from it, not the town. And
In the road. Cause I know we maintain all this property, we mow it all,
But us maintaining it and us owning it are those two
Right.
separate things?
It's
Yeah.
part of the town right away. If you go, if it's here between,
the sidewalk and the road.
between the Catholic church and the bridge, your street is 66 feet wide.
Yeah, but do you
So-
actually own it or,
That's,
because I mean, there's right away and then there's ownership. There's two separate things. Like, yeah, the
I'm
town,
assuming we own it because we put trees down through it.
Yeah, I think that could be a blurry thing. Do you know, Alan?
Well, I think it is town-owned
Okay.
property, but again, it wasn't for the benefit of the town, it was for benefit of those private homeowners or people buying the house. It wasn't, like fixing a piece of town-owned property.
Yeah.
We're doing basically work on somebody's house, somebody else is benefiting from it and the town's paying for it.
This is my thought process on it. They had a problem, so they hired the camera, they paid for the camera to come up and to prove basically that this issue was taking place on town property. Yes, it benefited them because their sewer wouldn't flush, but at the same time, if you have a main line that's down underneath the street, water or sewer, it's still gonna benefit, it needs to be fixed. It's still gonna benefit whoever's household that it serves.
But in this case, it's contrary to what the town has always done in the past, which is between the house and the main line, but
So how would you like to see this handled differently, Alan?
in this particular case, and again, I'm not casting aspersions on anybody, but I think anytime you've got a situation like this, I think on any type of blockage, when there's a determination that needs to be made about how town money is spent, I think it should come to the select board. If it's my house, if I go home tonight and my sewer's blocked up, or anybody, I think it should come to the board
But-
before that money is spent, and rather than just pay the bill.
Well, the question becomes, it's kind of an emergency situation. It's like, you can't wait till the next select board meeting for the approval. That's why I think that the policy needs to be really etched in granite and applied to everybody. And he's right though about, conflict of interest. People shouldn't be benefiting at the town's expense. Because I don't want to pay for it, you don't want to pay for it, you don't want to pay for it.
Well, and how
You know.
far does it go? Like, what if there's a tree growing on my road next to my, it grew after I put in my septic along in my yard, and that tree grew on the town's property and grew up into mine, into my sewer. Like, where do you draw that? In theory, I'm obligated to pay for everything on mine because it's my own personal system. But if it's a town tree that grew into it, where do you draw that line? I don't know. I'm just randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it's certainly, I don't think it needs to be tabled tonight and given further consideration. I'm just thinking that we have to have a granite solid policy, and it applies to everybody, and that we don't have the conversations anymore about if and or. And if the appropriate exception.
I think we're not. Yeah, I think you're going to be naive. There's going to be exceptions, but
Yeah, if the appropriate exception is related to the town, so be it, and that gets written in the policy. I mean, if it's,
I'll send this to you.
and again, I feel for everybody in the past that paid for all these repairs, but, things change. The town evolves, and, as things move forward, if it's clearly stated, this is the policy, and that's how it affects the landowners in the town. And if it's a blockage that's even under the existing, and I don't know what the existing policy said, if it's where it attaches to the main, or is it at the curb, or is it at the sidewalk, or is it at the town right away?
Right now, there's
Jeremy
no policy.
did it 3
But
years ago.
see, I thought there was,
Put it all together 3 years
all
ago.
the years I'd come and I'd
You're
hear,
welcome.
oh, we gotta replace this, well, it's on the landowner's property, so it's their responsibility.
Well, I think let's work on the policy. At this point, I think since they were directed to get the scope, it was already there were already some town decisions made. We're not going to change that. I do agree more of it should come before the board
Yep.
going forward.
But what do you do in emergency cases like that? That's my question, I guess.
We can always write policy that the homeowner pays for it, and if they feel that it's a town problem, they can come to the board and seek reimbursement.
That would be
That's a
fair.
good policy.
That's fair.
The
That
only thing
doesn't
is not
delay them,
everybody
they
has a
get it
couple
fixed
$1,000s to
quickly.
do it.
And we're not in a
I
bind.
have a couple of dollars.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that not everybody has a couple $1,000s to throw in
Yeah,
and say,
but-
I got this done today.
You,
Seriously, I couldn't come up with it right now.
yeah, I know.
So if mine
It's-
broke, I'd be screwed.
I don't know, we gotta,
Well,
we
most of the work is done by us. I mean, our guys do it, Alfred.
Right, so we would,
Um,
they would, could have, we could say we could bill them, and
There's-
then
there's
they
some-
could send the bill to us and
There's some
see if we
delay.
cover it.
There's a delay. We would
Okay.
have time to deal with it.
Okay,
It's not like they do the work and need to be paid the next day.
right.
Right.
But people for like the scope tests, the camera test, they do.
yeah,
Most
they won't
of
come
these
out
do.
and do it, yeah.
I'm
Would
sure
you have,
I'm sure you have
like,
30
did
days.
Gronick do it for you?
No,
Who did it?
actually, they're paid on site, from my understanding.
So,
Yeah, they won't put the camera down there until they get paid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you have that. Jeremy had worked on a ordinance for water and sewer 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, and
So-
didn't know about it until recently, actually.
And we didn't know about it till recently. I guess he had sent it to the board, to someone on the board, but it kinda got tabled, I guess. It didn't come to a meeting. So when I was talking to him and asking him what his opinion was on all this, cause I wanted to hear it myself, he sent it to me. So I
Okay.
just sent it to Michael.
You can email it out to all of us
Yeah.
after, okay?
I think Daryl had a big part in that.
Yes, Daryl did, yep.
And actually, there needs to be a set of sewer rules, just like there is water rules.
Yep.
Because right now, for the whole sewer, there's nothing. And
Welcome to town administration.
Let me see what this is. This might be both. Water and sewer ordinance.
well, the water is in desperate need of
2022.
updating.
Sure.
I mean,
That's
the
what this
water
is.
rules that we're working with right now were created in, I think, in 1980 something. And those need to be updated, and we need to
Still have
create the
water there?
whole sewer rules.
I was a kid,
There you go,
turned on the faucet, it worked.
there you go. Some days it didn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Technology has rendered a good part of
That,
what we're using now.
like the metering, stuff, the electronic metering, all that?
Mhm.
Yeah, so get that as well, Michael, I guess. There's
One big policy.
And as we're talking about water and sewer and on and on and on, what are we doing with Andy Derby's property? And
Well,
what are we doing? You know,
Unfortunately, because Jeremy's not here, not much can happen.
It's because he's on vacation, but he went on vacation last week. And we had a meeting in,
The week before.
yeah, in October.
Yeah.
And we said, oh, we'll give it to Jeremy.
So the update he gave today was he still hasn't done that. So we asked again
Okay.
Well, then
to pursue the
stress it.
quote. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, it's like, again, it's about loose ends and, tying everything up and, Michael, you're doing a great job. I don't have issues with it, but there's only so much you can do at one time. You can officially farm stuff out to like Simon's.
I just
and
sent
to-
this to everybody. I just sent the one for the water and sewer to everybody, so you should all get copies. That way he can start working on his, and if he has any suggestions, he can just email us out to us.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I just,
So it should go one
People-
side here.
and again, to me, that's kind of a conflict, we as a board need to direct what that water rate is gonna be. We talk, oh, I'm gonna just hook up like a household now. Well, and who's gonna pay for the cost to do it? We don't know what the cost to do it is. And
Well, that's part of why we're waiting.
I understand that, but
I
who
think-
makes the decision on the rates that he pays? Or who makes the decision on the,
Well, it sounded like you guys were debating it from my listening to the last.
Yeah.
You were debating between commercial and industrial.
I don't think we have a rate that fits in this particular case.
Well-
I think we need to look at creating maybe an agriculture, some other type of rate to cover this.
Okay.
Why don't we, Michael, why don't you call and see how, like, Morrisville handles Dave Marvin or Fairfax handle, I don't know if, Run Amok is on town sewer water in Fairfax, they're a huge bottling plant. some of these other towns that have similar things, and like, I know Dave Marvin, Butternut Mountain is on water and sewer, see how they, I mean, they're a little more, I would say they're more industrial,
Mhm.
but I mean, they're packaging, they're not making anything, they're just packaging.
Mhm.
Most of it, you know, I mean, I guess maybe they make some sugar, they refine it
Yeah.
down, but they're not actually,
But there again, our rules clearly say processing.
Yeah.
Comes under the industrial definition, but again, that goes back to the fact that the thing is so out of date.
So it just needs to be redefined.
Redefined and maybe create another
It
category
needs
or
to
something.
evolve from
Yeah,
what it
but we can,
has
we
been.
can, but I don't think that prohibits us from, we can make that policy decision and then have it written, you know, so we can move forward with Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point.
Yeah, the description of commercial is crazy, it's the difference between this and this. That's commercial.
I live in a house, I pay half commercial, half residential.
Like
anyway.
crazy.
So there was a motion on the floor before, I forget.
Yes, I make a motion for the town to pay or
Camera
reimburse Shelby Pocket for the camera test,
Shelby and Robert.
and Robert.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it, but I want in there with the understanding that the town policies will be revisited and rewritten to,
I'm gonna have to rewrite this whole thing. We'll redo that again.
You can watch the tape.
Yeah, I know, I just don't. So motion,
Thank you.
so you were saying motions
To reimburse
to reimburse
Shelby Pocket and Robert. What's his last name?
Loisel.
Loisel. For a camera test. Where we found it was the tree root that the town planted on town land that caused the issue. Now we people know.
and with my second was with the add-on, with the understanding that town policies regarding water and sewer will be either created or written to current standards.
And-
Per board approval, eventual approval.
And the new rules and regs may supersede this.
Yes, add that in as well.
understanding of new water. So water and sewer policy updates are,
May supersede past practice.
Yeah, it's not gonna be grandfathered in,
which,
you know, because your motion is, it's dependent on what the policy ends up being.
Yeah.
firstly, yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
I
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no.
I was gonna abstain.
well, that kind of makes it a no then, huh?
It's deadlock right now.
And you're abstaining because,
I'm just abstaining because I know both of them. That's all.
I think we all know both of them.
I don't know. I don't know them well enough to withhold a vote.
Just, I agree with Wally and Sherry, and to make it known, yes, Shelby and Robert are both on the fire department, and Shelby's on ambulance, so I do work with them.
Mhm.
So, if I was to cast a vote, I would say, yes, I would pay for it.
Well, that's not to say that it can't be revisited at a future date once the policy is rewritten. Right?
Right?
I'm just, you know,
That's fine as well.
yeah.
So I guess the motion is deadlocked and
We'll bring it up at
Yeah.
after a policy.
Right.
Another water question.
Okay.
The water that was drawn down from the farm over the summer,
Yes.
and we never made a decision on
yeah, I saw that in the minutes last time.
it. So I'm curious as to, is this just something we're gonna make a fond memory and walk away from it? I don't think we should.
Didn't you suggest a certified letter
Yeah.
in the minutes?
There was a
think I did.
certified letter on the desk and.
It's been in there for a few months.
Yeah, it needs to be sent out.
Okay.
Oh, it hasn't been sent?
No, it was right on the desk, I saw it.
There
from
was one
Sunday.
that was sent.
It
It
was,
was
it was sent, but they
No, but there was
didn't
one
reply
initially.
to it.
Right, there
It
was.
wasn't- the initial one wasn't certified.
No,
I think the secondary one will be
I'm
certified.
not aware of what the
I
second.
didn't, I'm pretty sure the initial
Yeah.
one was just a regular
I
letter.
think it was.
Yes.
And then I think that now we need to follow with a certified.
Yes. Is it still going on?
What, it was a
Well-
springtime thing.
Yeah,
We'll fill
I
it.
don't know all of the details. I was just informed as a member of this board that someone was obtaining water that was
Last spring, right?
unauthorized, yeah.
Yeah,
That,
so we wrote the
according to
letter.
that letter.
Right, so we wrote the letter got sent out.
Mhm. And we forgot about it.
Was there any more to do? If they,
Well,
if they stop doing
how-
it, that's great, but if they start doing it again, then we need to.
Well, yeah, but what about all the water they've already taken?
Well, we're not
Do
gonna,
we- how
we're not
are we
gonna,
gonna
we're,
know?
we're not gonna have any accounting of that.
Yeah.
I think we just gotta look to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, from this point
I
forward.
don't know about that, but okay.
How are you gonna account for it?
I don't know what was the initial source of the information, and do
The
we,
initial source was a picture from one of the town residents that there was a sap truck up there getting
Mhm.
filled up. I mean, the picture was brought up, but you can't prove, how
How
many
much?
times that truck's been up there. Is it just one truckload of water? Probably not, but
again, it's,
you're just,
I think it makes us, as town officials, look stupid, okay? That we can't, you're right, I agree with the processes that you want it to stop, okay?
and I
And
believe,
it has.
and I believe Alan and I both asked, and I don't know, we'll have to follow up with Jeremy, but at the time, we asked if we could put a meter on there to read such a, and that's unclear if that's been done or not. 'Cause
Thought he said he had a meter on there.
he had a meter, but I think you had mentioned putting a meter that reads a huge amount instead of spinning it over.
In 10,000 gallons
Yes.
instead of reading 1,000
Yes.
gallons, yeah.
Yes.
So they know what, it'll set off an alarm when large volumes be drawn.
No, it will count. It's just like having an odometer. It only goes to
Keep
100,000.
rolling over.
Ah.
Yeah.
But couldn't you set it up to, like, you could set it up to, like,
You can set it up to reading 10,000 so it won't roll over.
no, but what I'm saying is,
So it rolls
I,
right
like,
back to
they
zero.
can always tell, like, my one conversation with Daryl one night in here was, they can always tell where if there's a leak somewhere because the meter will, they could tell. So you could set that up to send it alerts, like if if you get it to get an alert when.
That's
Abnormal
a
usage.
flow meter though. These are just meters that measure the water. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have a flow meter, then you have a meter that just counts the gallons. Where
See, the meter I'm talking about, 10,000 would be the individual meter for that line.
Yeah.
The meter you're talking about is the meter up at the water plant that, I think.
No, but
that
I
measures how much water the whole town is using.
I thought you could tell it from individual residents, like
No.
if they could tell there was a leak somewhere, if the house went from 10,000 gallons a month to 25,000. Well, let's go investigate why all of a sudden their usage went
no,
up.
They put it in a swimming pool.
it's actually quicker than that because I would draw water filling tankers down at the station and I'd get a call. You drawing water actually.
So that's what so like if something similar to that was up there, where like, oh shit, 10,000 gallons went out on a Saturday afternoon. All right, well what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like there's
Or
the
you could read
technology.
the individual meter.
Huh?
Like if we had a meter up there, you look at it today and then a week later you look at it, you'll know how much they've used.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can read them anytime.
Yeah.
Basically, the flow meter is just to tell if
Yeah.
there's a large usage somewhere,
Yeah.
which would have to be very large,
Yeah.
or is a break. There was one instance that I got a call and wanted to know if I was using water, and it ended up being a break in the back of the mill. So
Okay. But I just think, I don't think it makes us look foolish. We were made aware of the issue.
Yeah,
And
no,
we're trying, I mean,
What
you
makes
can't
us,
you can't do reverse enforcement.
no, but what makes us look foolish is lack of reaction. And we try to be proactive by writing policies and so forth, and we come upon different scenarios, whatever it is. It's, and we don't take action. We don't,
And that's not really
We took
true.
the action.
Well,
No, I wanna address that.
Okay.
We did take action, we did write a letter.
yeah,
We meet 2 times a month,
Oops,
so there's
sorry.
only
Oh, you're fine.
a certain, you have 2 footprints within a month's time that we meet. We can only,
Yeah.
so, we did take action, yes. It kinda
Fell through the crack a little bit.
fell
Well,
through the crack
yeah.
because of everything else that goes on, but,
yeah.
I wouldn't say that we dropped the ball on this.
Yeah, letter was written, letter was sent.
Yeah.
We'll send it.
Well, yeah, I mean.
And,
okay.
but the next
But
question is, are we
you
gonna
can't
send a
really-
certified letter knowing or not knowing that they're still using it? So
Exactly, and we gotta wait to see if they're
we
gonna use
basically
it.
need to know
No.
the information from the meter, are they still taken?
I don't think that part matters. Like, we just need acknowledgement that they received the letter, that if they were indeed doing this,
Yeah.
they're aware that they can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to know that they're still.
Well, did we receive that acknowledgement?
We did not.
No, because we sent them just a letter.
So that next time it should
They
be a
didn't
certified letter,
Alright,
so
like
we
I said,
know.
I don't
that-
think we need acknowledgement that they're still doing it.
Yeah,
I just think
I
we need to
understand.
know acknowledgement that they know they can't do it.
Right.
that's fine. I'm still licking my wounds
Is
from
that something we could just
from a
make
past
phone call
meeting
on?
last year when a resident came in here and said, you guys back burner an awful lot of stuff. And it's, whether you call it slipping through the cracks or,
Well, I don't
lack
think
of follow-up or,
And I don't think that's wrong. I think what the board moves very slow on a lot of stuff, and I think we need to work on that.
yeah, I agree.
I think there's, almost in all areas, that we need to be better at it.
I agree. I totally agree. And like you said, though, it's, it takes boards across the state a long time to do things because they're volunteer boards.
Yep.
Half of the state house is filled with farmers, and they got other responsibilities, like their livelihood. And it's, and the same thing in this room. Everybody has other jobs to do, and it becomes difficult. But it should be the work of this
Yep.
board, of this committee. And now that we have a town administrator, that if we don't want to do it, we give it to him.
Well,
I mean, I hate to say that,
was
but
the
it's,
that was the premise.
Yeah.
So I think, do we have, is there any more on this water and sewer?
Well, I'm just curious as to,
We didn't water and sewer all at once.
yeah, other instances of beneficial treatment, shall I say, to anybody in town in terms of the homeowner or the business owner or the anybody benefited at town expense for something that shouldn't have happened. I don't personally know of any.
I don't
Okay.
either.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. But should we be beating the bushes to find them or just let them pass?
well, I think it's one of those, I think as you find them, I mean, unless you can
Yeah,
prove,
that's- right.
unless you can prove backwards, it's hard, it's very hard to do, wouldn't you say, Alan?
Yeah,
I mean, you,
I mean, I wasn't sure I was gonna bring this up, but, and again, the last thing I wanna do is cast aspersions on anybody, I'm not saying anything. But going back to our, our water and sewer budget, it was just an innocent conversation coming up with numbers to plug into the budget. It came up that apparently the town paid for some parts for Blue Seal, which, in the overall scheme of things, again, I'm not saying anything, but it, people hear about this stuff and then, they kind of get the perception that maybe.
and were these parts something that the town,
I don't know anything about it.
the business would normally pay for, or the town would normally pay for?
Well, I don't know, and I guess that's kind of the
Private
point.
policy.
Yeah, the town paid for parts for something and
You just say I'm not aware of that.
nobody knows
It was-
anything about it. And
Well, I
it's
know when I
like,
first moved to town, for instance, the town put a pressure reduction valve in my house because I was blowing faucets off. There was so much pressure in my house.
Yeah.
And the town put it in, and I didn't pay for it, so I'm the beneficiary. I should go and get the $80 for the valve and give it to the town. But since we don't have that kind of policy, which we're talking about
Right.
today, but there's no way that they should have come in and done that.
I disagree. In that
Because of the pressure in the system?
yeah, if the town is providing way too much pressure to the point that it's causing property destruction to you, they're providing that service to you for a fee. And if it's causing damage, like if the oil company pumped oil into your tank and blew a gasket because they had too much pressure,
Oh, no, they overfilled it.
or they overfilled it.
Yeah.
They pay for it.
So in that instance, I can see like, in order to provide their service in the manner that is prescribed or expected, if that's what had to happen, then I think it's fair that they did that for you. I don't think that was giving you any sort of preferential treatment. It was getting you to the point that they could provide the service
Well,
that you're
I
paying for.
paid for the plumber that identified the problem.
Yeah.
And then the town installed the pressure reduction valve,
It's
so.
kind of like a gas company putting a regulator on a.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't
I don't.
know where you draw the line.
Well, I mean, I think that's an easy. I mean, to me, that's an easy.
Yeah.
They're in order to provide the service that they were trying to provide to you.
They fixed it.
I think rather than dealing with specific issues, I think the larger issue again is what kind of handle do we have on spending with water and sewer? This is a subcontractor for the town, it's not an employee. We're talking about, well, it's gonna be an over $1 million budget that nobody really, other than maybe Kylie who sees the bills, has a hell of a lot of oversight over what's being spent.
Yeah, maybe.
And
But
I
this
don't know.
has been the precedence from when I started on water and sewer is, they looked at it and kind of made the decision, so this is something that's been taking place for a while.
Well, I mean, maybe.
That doesn't make it right.
Exactly, I'm just saying
It's,
that this is something that, Jeremy's looking at what took place in the
Oh,
past.
no, I understand. You
so we're changing
react,
Yeah.
you react on
Right.
past precedents.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not saying anything bad about Jeremy or anybody,
Well-
I guess I would just throw out this for some people to think about, maybe.
Do we authorize the town clerk to monitor expenses and, because they're the.
Well, she does, that's her
So-
job.
And as red flags occur, let us know.
And she has.
Well, you sign the warrant every week.
She has.
Or to let us
You
know,
know.
or to give her the authority to authorize certain amounts.
Kylie
Listen,
has in the past on, like charges down the Ace or
Right.
something, so that's where
I tell you what,
I relied on.
But we're not,
I'm a part, and I know I'm on camera. I'm a real asshole when it comes to approving the bills, and I'll ask her about small mundane things like what is this or where did it go and who bought it and so forth. And back a year ago when we were talking about a potential purchasing policy, which we still don't have solidly in place in terms of.
I think that is in place.
It is not.
well,
About approval for purchasing of a certain amount
It's at
and,
1,500, I thought.
well, I don't know. Anyway, but you go through those bills and occasionally you find a mistake or you see something that's not there. Like that happened recently. And again, it's controlling the town's money. I mean, that's really our responsibility first and foremost. And you want to continue on board, you better not raise the tax rate through the roof to cover all these unauthorized spending. But I'm a firm believer that you got to spend some money to make some money. But it just has to be roped in and comprehensive
See, that seems contrary to some of your previous comments.
What do you mean?
Well, we're still in water and sewer.
Yeah.
Last week, you said the town doesn't wanna pay for Andy's water and sewer. I mean, to that,
For Andy's water and sewer.
that extension down there. That, to me, is perfect town investing money to make money. It's a perfect example. And like Michael and I went to that housing meeting earlier this summer. And one of the key things they said, if the town wants to change the direction they're going is, town government has to have some skin in the game.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
But last week, I watched the meeting, or the last board meeting, you said.
Well, I don't think we should pay to get, if it's an exorbitant fee and we're talking about ifs and buts and, because we don't have a price. If it's $2,000, yeah, let's do it. If it's $20,000, no way.
Then I think you need to be careful on how you word it. And I would also caution you not to speak for the board on the board.
I'm not speaking for the
You
board.
said the board does not want to pay for it. You weren't speaking for me.
Okay.
I mean, were you speaking for Andy?
Okay.
So
I misspoke. I'm fine. Okay.
But I'm just saying, I'm cautioning. And even if it was $20,000, I would pay that in a heartbeat. Do you want to know why? Because he's told us on 2 different occasions, he's planning that building is he's gonna have $750,000 to $1 million. So after that meeting last time, because I heard from him, I did a little research with the listers. Even at just a generic $750,000, that would put every year, that would put an additional $14,000.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then if it was $1 million, it would probably put like 19 or 20,000. So we would have the payback on the town's outlay of $20,000.
I understand.
That you just said you didn't want to do it. It's a perfect
I don't want to
investment.
do it.
We would I would invest in that all day long.
This is a perfect example, as we're talking about water and sewer, of a private party benefiting at the town's expense. Yes, we're gonna get a return on the investment, and I would encourage any business in town. I'm not saying they should go away, okay? But I gotta see the numbers.
Yeah.
But
that's not how you worded it.
Okay. I gotta see the
You flat out
numbers.
said we did not want to pay for it.
I don't wanna pay for it. I don't mean to speak for the board,
Yeah.
okay? But what I'm saying is that, I don't think, what if I go and buy the next lot over and I don't put the same kind of investment? Don't I get water? Why can't I have water? And I'm not putting in $750,000.
Well, it would be hard to get to because we're already on that side of the road. It would
What?
cost us only
Yeah.
$5,000.
Well, what I'm
See what I'm
saying,
saying?
so I go
But the
another part of
investment, you
town.
keep
I
growing.
go another part of town where the water isn't. I go up on,
You have to, like you just said though, you have to be willing to spend money. So in what way as a town do you want to spend money to make money? Because I mean, something that's going to pay you back in less than 2 years,
yeah,
and you're going to have that money in
Well,
perpetuity
it's-
for decades.
it's like
I mean, if I was playing the stock market, I would take that gamble every day of the week.
of course you would.
So
It's just like-
give me some examples as how you
We've
would.
invested in the street lamps, okay? Our ROI on that is gonna be
10,000.
2.5 years or so,
Yeah.
3 years,
So
okay?
similar.
And it's the same thing when the credit union comes into the post office. And we spend some money with them,
Yeah.
that's gonna be returned. I can't guarantee that this particular project is gonna be $750,000, $1 million. It started out, there's gonna be a big pumping station there.
Yeah,
And
wow.
now suddenly it's changed, oh no, and originally we were gonna put the byproduct water
Yeah.
back into the system, and that's not happening now.
Well,
Well,
pointed out-
expenses.
What's that?
Expenses.
well, because of our
Well,
concerns.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, well, you know what? We didn't have concerns, we were for that. And he decided not to do it.
No, we weren't for it.
Yes, the water department said it would be beneficial to have that additional volume of water going
Yeah.
into the.
No, then Daryl came back and
Yes.
went and talked to some guy that he knows and
Yeah.
said, well, anything that they put in is gonna hurt the bacteria in the thing. It's the wrong time of year to have that volume.
Okay.
So we basically discouraged
All
it.
right,
That's
that's fine.
exactly what took place.
Okay,
So
I don't
flat
think
out
we
discouraged-
heard that here.
Yes, we
Yes, we
did.
did.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
okay.
that took place right here.
Because the initial discussions.
Yeah, the initial, but then it
Well,
progressed.
no, the discussions, Daryl was gone. Daryl was over the wall.
Daryl said that the last meeting that Daryl was here, we had a long and lengthy discussion.
Simons were here for that.
Yeah, and they.
I don't think I was,
Yeah,
that's
they
the thing.
came in with this detailed,
I wasn't.
like,
I
3-page
wasn't
paper
here.
that asked Andy to answer all these specific questions, so they could better understand the chemicals going in there, and they were like, no, these chemicals are gonna kill all the bacteria.
Okay, that's fine, I'm not
That was a big concern.
contesting the report, but again, comes full circle to how is the town's money being spent?
Well, I mean, I guess it's all in perspective. If, we're looking to expand business, which is gonna increase the tax base, to me, that's a great investment.
But you don't have any guarantee that he's gonna do it.
Do we have any guarantees that we're gonna actually make money off the bank going over here? At best, we're breaking even with what we had.
But it's different because it's a big service to the community. And it's just like if we ever allowed the grocery store to go away again.
I guess it's all in perspective.
There's certain viable industries and services that need to be in a community to help it
Yeah.
exist.
I would say any business, yes, there are some that are more key, but I would say if we're looking to.
I know we're looking to expand, and
But you also gotta look at the fact that it's an employee too. He's gonna employ people to work
I understand.
that are taxpayers within the town.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen a business plan. I don't know what he's gonna do.
I think we beat this enough.
Yeah, I agree.
It's back and forth, so, anything with water and sewer since we've been on that topic, other than what we've been talking about tonight? I was on vacation the week before, and Jeremy's been on vacation, so I haven't seen or talked to Jeremy for.
Lock him in, tell him we expect it by this date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell him, we've now had, you're going on a month, we want it.
We need it by this such and such a date, which probably be before the next board meeting.
Yes.
So,
And, it's a cop-out to say you can't find somebody to bore. I called St. Ange's and I had 3 names in under 2 minutes.
I mean, he's got resources,
Oh, I'm
Of
sure.
companies that could do it.
Jeremy's got resources at his company that should be able to help him out, so.
Can I get a
Agreed.
price to get this?
Alan, do you have anything other?
I guess just the last thing I would wanna say is I was just, long term, nothing settled tonight. Maybe think about finding a way to not put so many restrictions that they can't get their work done, but think about some way of maybe down the road getting a little oversight over.
Yes. I see what you're saying, yes.
Over water and sewer?
Yes.
Well, then hopefully the policy can help.
Is gonna address that, yeah.
Right. Because they really don't, we have us, and you guys, but they really don't have anybody from the town overwatching everything they do.
No, there's no,
There's no big man watching anything.
And again, I don't wanna stop them from
They're
doing
doing a
their
good
work,
job,
but
but
I
at
think
the
we owe it
same
to
time-
the people that pay water bills to
Yep.
have some oversight over how the money's being spent.
No,
okay.
I agree with that.
Alright, so that's tabled until we have a policy and then water and sewer is done. So we're gonna go on to approval of the 10/17 select board meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I can't vote on it because I wasn't
I'll
here,
second it.
but I do have a great request.
Yeah.
Can we can you break the minutes into, instead of one long running diatribe, can we break them into
Paragraph?
topics, like points of discussion, so it's a little more broken up?
Water, sewer.
It's like there's no spacing, there's no nothing.
That's not the way it should be formatted.
Yeah, no, it's
No,
not in
print it
mine.
off.
That's how it came through on my email.
I'm looking at it right here.
Are you sending it, that's a Word document?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I break it down by
Okay.
each section.
Yeah, what's
Oh, I have it right here.
Yeah, that was much
It
different.
goes to each individual.
When I printed it
Incident
off from
when
my
it comes up.
iPhone, this is how it comes
Okay, well,
out.
that's.
That's why, because you
Or
don't
my
have
iPad.
Word on your iPhone.
Nope, I don't.
Yeah, okay, never mind then.
Alright.
Okay,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I usually
I don't
break
do
it down
that.
the way.
Okay.
alright. Motion to approve the
I'll
minutes.
second it. He first said, I second it.
All those in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Here none, motion passed.
And you're abstaining, yeah.
Update from town administrator.
Alright, well, I got a handful of things that need to be signed.
Okay.
This is on top, so I'll just go with this. This is the mowing contract for all of you to sign. It's already been signed by, Judy.
You're on.
Yeah, you're on. So if you wanna pass that around, you can review it.
Did everybody see my email?
Yes, I commented back on it.
I guess I didn't see that.
What was it?
I had a town person ask me why we went into executive, or why
Yes.
we went into executive to discuss the bids. And so I asked Michael to research it, and the response back we got is there's very, very few instances where we should go into executive session to discuss bids. And we have to specify exactly why we do it in the future, so we should.
Okay.
Yeah, it was always
Yeah, I saw
very
yours
loosely
and I saw yours.
addressed as, oh, it's a contract.
Yeah.
You know,
Basically, we're following what prior boards did, from my
Yes.
understanding. And, you know, bringing that to light, moving forward,
Yep, we
we'll
won't
discuss
do
it
any
in
more,
open
yeah.
meeting.
well, typically, when it's a bid process, you would open them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then be able to view the bid opening.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. But,
Yeah, so I mean,
no, I agree. It's transparency, it's,
and
It makes sense.
the only thing that they said is if it's gonna hurt the individual, you know, like if there's some sort of,
no, I understand.
is this something, I wasn't at the board meeting, should I abstain from this? That doesn't matter.
It's just
I
the
thought
No,
that,
it's,
right?
we
just-
talk about the bid process, yeah, it's fine. I think, I don't know. I know most things, I don't know anything.
After. Okay. I forgot.
So as that continues to be passed around, I'll talk about the, Jason asked to change the winter ban hours to coincide with the signs, so the policy had a different time than what the signs show out on the streets. So this new policy has the change times, which is 2 AM to 6 AM, which is what all the signs around town say. So if you wanna flip through that, we can sign that off.
And did we also,
Consistent.
weren't we at one point trying to secure somebody to do towing?
So TDI said they would be willing to tow
Perfect, yeah.
if we have the space.
They responded.
And Jason said that he thinks they,
They can provide the space at the town,
Yeah,
the
I'll
town,
talk
the old
to
town bar.
yeah, talk to him about it, but then we would get charged for it, obviously, for the tow.
Right.
But which can be passed on to
To the,
you,
to
offender.
the-
They'd come up tow to the town barn, and then they would have to come here, pay the towing fee, pay for the town setting it over there. Is that what we talked about last time we talked about this?
I'm not sure what happened last time, like last year.
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
Did
It
you
was-
change the dates at all? Is it December
the-
1st to,
Yeah, I think that was the
April
same.
15th?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the same.
And,
It was just the times that I changed.
yeah, and I think those signs were made when it was still
the bars.
that bars, and they weren't gonna plow people in until the bars closed. And, but, anyway. Yeah, and hopefully, this is nothing more than another deterrent. You know, we don't want people to be parking on the street, and so,
And I mentioned to Michael earlier, when I found that we were gonna be looking at this, we should probably utilize that electric sign out front to post.
oh yeah.
That's a perfect place to put that.
So
I
this-
would like to ask one more thing, sorry,
Yeah.
Michael. When we have our select board meetings, it'd be nice to be able to have that on.
They should
the post.
absolutely be on the board.
Any meeting that's going on that's public should be
Yeah,
on there
any
for the
meetings,
day
yeah.
of
Yep.
planning, or DRB.
Whatever's on the calendar, on the
Anything.
town website, it should be up there,
on there For the
absolutely.
day, so people can see it, so people will know with the time.
And I've been particularly impressed with the board, I mean, I think
I like
that
the board,
the
yes.
dancing skeleton on Halloween was phenomenal.
Okay.
Really, I mean,
So do you wanna bring that up to Kylie, or do you want
I
some?
think Michael can.
Yeah,
probably
we're
give him
Kylie.
your-
gonna take care of that.
So
Perfect.
future select
well,
board
you
meeting.
know, they gave,
All meetings.
didn't they give us a form to follow?
Being a town function though.
I know, I agree,
Yeah.
but
Do you have
Like
the
I saw-
authority to do it?
No, I don't control the sign.
Who does,
Kylie and
Yeah, they
Marissa,
have the program on their computer.
Oh, okay.
Kylie Marissa.
It's just like, I'm sure that the Methodist Church had to fill out one
Yeah,
of
they
those
did.
forms for
Yep.
the church bazaar last weekend.
Yep.
But it still belongs there, it just has to,
Yep.
you know.
Right, I
It's just
can
for-
see
it
that,
just sets
but
a
for our
precedent for
town
everybody.
stuff, it should be.
Oh, I agree,
automatic.
and
What else, yeah.
as we discussed at the one meeting about.
So this one, we have to sign loose from the credit union, but this is a resolution saying that Andy can sign on behalf of the select board for relating to the contract and all that. So if you wanna read that, this came from our lawyer.
No, I
So this was with, the terms of conveyance that I sent
I
out.
already read this.
Yeah.
And I had given you that comment
Yep.
on that one document, that it's contradictory in the last paragraph about, it says sale of the property when it should say lease of the property.
Yeah.
But it's gone out, it's gonna be a,
It's a
It's
one
gonna be
time,
fine,
it's just
yeah.
one time, it's not gonna
yep,
be recurring in the
Right.
paper, so.
yep, I understand.
Yeah.
No, it's all good, I'm just saying that,
Right, yeah,
you know,
No, I didn't date, sorry.
oh, that's fine. Yours is on the first page, the first line got bumped on, the signature line.
Right here.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of the first page.
Okay.
So as that's going around, so I also have the personnel policy here, which came up months ago. And this has the new Juneteenth holiday on here, as was discussed last time, and the ride-along policy. Kylie suggested we get this done before the new year starts.
With this, someone.
So I have it, and Wally and I took a look at it, we think it's fine the way it is, with the changes that was already discussed months ago, but this is it, if you wanna review both changes. And if you sign this, then this can be in place today
Okay.
as well. Do
Yep.
you want me to point out the change, or do you want,
We're good,
you're good?
yeah,
Okay.
we've already been through it all.
Yeah, if that's something you wanna sign, and
and this isn't, this came up in discussion today when we were counting ballots and we had free time.
Is there a s-
Members of this board, as employees of the town, should have a personnel file. And we should also have, like, signed conflict of interest in that file.
We did sign those, didn't we?
Yeah, but
no, so
they
you
don't
said,
go, I'm saying,
The
we need an
employees.
employee jacket
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the files that
Yeah.
says, you know, easy, ready
So
reference.
Andy, just one person can sign
Any
this, right,
elected
or do you want
person,
all of us to
you know.
sign?
oh, no, not that, that,
There isn't a signature page for us,
right here.
or to sign on anywhere?
Yeah. Right, that say November 7th on there? Hopefully I didn't pick the wrong policy, yeah, it says November
Adopted
7th.
the 7th day of November.
But you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, just,
Yeah, no, you're right.
it's a lot cleaner,
Yeah.
because
You can
technically we are
You can't
town
claim,
employees.
you can't claim ignorance.
Yeah,
That's
that,
right.
that's one I just printed off from whatever the old policy.
And yeah,
that
we
you added
approved
one
and
half.
signed a,
No, perfect.
conflict of interest policy, but if they say,
Where does it
where's
get,
it in Tim's file, you know, it's like,
where does that
you
go
haven't
after
anything.
we sign it?
What, the- you-
I'm sure it's gone somewhere,
Yeah.
ways back, I mean, in the, I mean, it's in the records, but should be a lot easier to find.
Oh, is that one?
When-
These are,
Oh, yes.
so these are just the monthly reports from Joey for ambulance. Wanna review those?
Yeah, I get past them, there I go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I see 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got this in email too, didn't we, recently?
Yes,
I don't remember if I sent it through email, I just
Yeah.
had it printed out just in
Yeah.
case.
you're good, you're good.
Thank you. Okay, well, that's all there for me.
You're
So-
living the dream here, you don't need one of these.
I get that. I think, well, no. As of today, I think we're one over what we did for the entire year last year.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's good, very good.
So I'll quickly run through some just quick things that I have. Rail trail extension letters went out,
Yep.
so marked on November 17th is the day. Wally, Sherry, and I will be meeting with Bethany, and hopefully someone shows up for that.
Okay.
Got the resolution. It's for at the last meeting I talked about interest in working with Greta on doing a scoping study for sidewalk to the elementary school and getting a grant for that. So we had a meeting about that with the principal at the elementary school, and she's for it. We had Amy Brewer on there because she's also a coordinator for the Safe Walk to Schools for Kids program. So they're all involved with that. The grant we're trying to apply for is the Transportation Alternatives Program. It's due sometime in December. So that is on there. Just informing you that's what we did this last week.
Can we research the history on that? Because all I kept hearing about was the state didn't want it along the state highway and that type of thing, and they had opposed it originally. And I don't know how you even find out if there's such an opposition. I don't know.
Right. I remember I was part of that conversation. But Greta is adamant that we can definitely do that.
So they might have changed some of
Well,
that.
I don't.
We'll
Yeah,
call it the Greta Brunswick Parkway.
right. So I mean, she's heading the grant. She's very
Okay.
interested. I just got to
Yeah.
keep you informed that that's
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect.
that's
That's
what's
awesome.
going on. This Friday, at hopefully Sherry will be
8
there.
o'clock?
8 o'clock in the morning. We're gonna go into the post office for North Country in their space to do asbestos testing in that first floor office space. Obviously, we know there's asbestos in the second floor, in the basement. But I asked Morgan, and he couldn't find any reports on first floor. And so if we're gonna be working in that area, we're gonna need a report for that.
Okay.
So that's coming up 8 a.m. this Friday. We're having someone test it. So hopefully
Yeah.
the results are
Dig safe
good.
worked out really good.
The dig safe worked out well.
It's like,
That was my
Can I ask
other
for a better
update.
spot for that tank?
So for the back porch that they need to make ADA compliant, there's nothing that's gonna be in the way of that, no obstruction. The underground tank is right off the side of it. So that was good.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big relief. The job fair, so we had the job fair end of October. I know Our Lady of the Meadows got 3 applicants, K-Tech got 1, and I'm pretty sure North Country, they said they got 1. So even though it was slow throughout the day, Andy was there, it seemed very slow throughout the day, but there were applicants, so I think if maybe we can continue to work on making it better, it could be a nice thing we could do occasionally for businesses around town.
Feed the people, you get more attendees, even if it's coffee and cookies.
I'm glad we didn't
They
do
say
that.
But no, it's
They
true.
say
There would have been a lot left over.
There would have been a lot of
Yeah,
leftovers if we
no, I
did that.
understand, but it's, when you promote it, it's like the J-Peak job fair that was, I guess, last week. And they held it up there this year. Last year, it was a dairy center. And they catered the whole thing. You know, it was a big food spread, and they promoted it in the postering. You know, come in, get a meal, apply for 17 different positions.
So you're saying you could move it around to like a spot like that?
Or you could move it around and
then-
then, like I say, list that refreshments are served.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
So this is an interesting one. So last month at REACT's board meeting, I became a member of REACT. This coming one, they're assigning responsibilities to REACT members. They would like me to become the president of REACT, but they just want to know it's not going to interfere or become a conflict as me being the head. They don't think it is. I don't think it is because I'm just not getting paid for it. It coincides with my job here. And initially when REACT was created, they were supposed to work together with the town.
Yeah.
They were closely adjoined.
So in a sense, you'd be a liaison between REACT and the board.
Pretty much, yeah. More of that, but more involved with their business as well.
Well, and there's certain things you're gonna have to, like, as we get further along, we're gonna wanna run through React.
Right.
So, like, grant wise, cause we need that second entity.
They just wanted to make sure that wouldn't be a problem. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't have a problem, I mean, is there any entity we could anybody we could ask that would know better than us? In that regard, I mean, or we just say we're, right now, as of right now, we're not.
And if it does, I can just abstain from whatever.
Well,
I
Laura was REACT secretary and she
Right.
was town administrator, or not administrator, but secretary
Yeah,
for the select
a little
board
different.
for all the years.
But
It's
yeah,
a little different,
If-
but
If you feel personally that you can meet the demands of both positions, I don't have an issue.
I don't either.
At
yeah,
the
me neither.
rate they are now, it wouldn't be hard.
Yeah,
It's just we got to build it back up
yeah,
to
that's
a more
that's right.
involved, to be more involved with that.
So they're actually an advancement
Yeah.
corporation. I was on there for a long time, so.
Right.
Mhm.
So
A little while.
and
Yeah,
then
that's right.
they're okay with that. I'll let them know. I
Yeah.
think Thursday is their next meeting, which is our
Our trip to St. Albans.
yes. That's another thing. Wally and I are going to go to FCIDC
open house.
It's their 30th
Yeah,
anniversary.
it's like it's an open house that they invited.
We just wanna keep our name, we wanna keep Richford on
Oh, yeah,
on the front radar.
I
Yeah,
think we will be,
so we just want to go there.
but that's great.
I'll just tell them that I won't make a meeting because we're doing that.
Yeah.
But I'll let them know when they have their agenda posted.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then the last thing I got is for the CDBG grant for Vermont Natural Forest Products. They were just in here about that for the taxes, but this was that grant that Tim Smith suggested we'll explore for them as to be a lender of money for them. They said I would have to fill out a pre-application to see if it would work first before we move forward with that grant. So they said if the board has any questions or concerns, you can either write them down on a list and I can send it to them. They told me, and I know Elizabeth from FCIDC said that in the past they have gone to select board meetings. They told me the grant administrator said they don't usually do that as much. So if you have any questions or concerns, I know there was some, if you write up a list for what you want me to say, okay, we can review them and then I can fill out the pre-application, which should vet us. And to make sure this could actually be something we could do. That's
Sorry,
where
I
I'm
just
up
got
with
a
that.
cramp in my leg,
That's fine.
so I jumped up.
But that's just where I'm at with that. I mean, I would have to fill it out first.
Yeah, I would say go for it.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I've talked to Michael on multiple occasions about it, is I don't want to, if we can go bigger, I'd rather go bigger than just focusing on Vermont natural wood products. If we can get a larger pool of money for potentially other things and it fits within the scope of that, like if we're filling an application out for $250,000, say, I don't know what the amount is for Vermont natural food, let's go for the whole $1 million if we can try, and if we can use it for a housing project or whatever, let's just think a little bigger with it. And if we're gonna put the time and effort in for, a quarter, we might as well go for the whole.
Yeah.
If you guys are fine with that.
I mean, if we can fit within the scope of.
Yeah, that's what I think, only if it fits in the scope.
So that could be a question I asked them.
Yeah.
I didn't, when we talked about it and when I talked to the grant administrator, it didn't sound like you could do that.
Well, what if we know of a couple other businesses that might be.
Right, so maybe if you
like,
get
we could
around.
do it.
But you have to have the specifics of where the money's gonna be used. You can't,
Yeah.
it's just not deliver me a bag of money and
No,
we decide what
But
to
I
do
mean,
with
there's
it
a couple
afterwards.
other people that have expressed a little bit of,
Oh, sure.
for like
Yeah, absolutely.
business upgrades and stuff, so
Yep.
maybe we could, we just find those out, maybe put a couple feelers out,
So I'll write that as a question that I
Yeah.
can ask them, yeah.
Yeah, we're all fine for them going for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
and
well.
I want to be as supportive as possible. But again, this comes back to, what do? We want to protect the wood plant. It's a good employer, it's a good operation for the town. But they came tonight to say, can you find projects for us? That's what they said.
Find projects.
No, like grants and can you find things for us? And I don't know, I mean, they must have a business plan and it must have included some of that. And I just get concerned, like, if I come and ask the board, will you find me a marketing plan that's funded from a grant for the Grey Gables?
Well, I think as long as it's not coming out of the town coffers, I think we do that. Like, that's part of what we're trying to do.
I agree we're trying to do it, but don't they have some responsibility to, I mean, just to say, will you spoon feed us a project?
I think they're looking for us as a resource.
Okay.
And
I don't think you realize the above and beyond money that they had to spend to get that place.
I
Like
understand.
I think you go, it's kind of like renovating a house. Like you go into it thinking you only need this, and then you go to re-insulate and you notice there's all sorts of rot.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I know.
the costs that they envisioned are not the costs that they're experiencing.
Right.
And I think,
But-
unfortunately, that's what they're dealing with.
That's the
I think
east.
what Tim is saying though, and I do agree with it, is we want to encourage businesses, but we want businesses that are going to improve our community not that we're gonna have to subsidize to keep you that are gonna cost us money.
But I,
Or even,
But your first
They-
5 years of any business from the ground
Yeah,
up,
yeah, yeah.
you're gonna be lucky if you make money.
Yeah.
So any support we can give to a business
Oh, no,
for the first few years to
I'm
get them
not
up and
saying
standing.
so what
don't
once
be
they're standing, they're
supportive,
still
but,
here.
and perhaps you said it right, that it's a resource, but I don't know, and because I'm on the outside looking in, okay, so it's from a position of ignorance, how much are they participating? They say, can you find me a grant? And you make the calls to Tim Smith, and why don't they make the calls to Tim Smith?
they have.
Okay, I don't know
Well,
what
I
they
mean,
have done.
So I think, like, you know, you can speculate a lot,
Yeah,
but I mean, these are questions, you know,
I
before,
mean,
before we speak as a board, I think you need a little base knowledge.
well, they came tonight,
Yeah,
and I heard, what can you do for me?
yeah.
And it wasn't,
That would have been the
Hold
time at that point to pose those questions.
Yes,
What
not-
kind of
Not,
resources are you using on your behalf to work towards this?
sure.
and have you
And-
reported on, in past meetings about the, like, you've been there a couple times.
Yep.
And you've reported out on that.
What I was gonna say, to your point about
Mhm.
making calls to Tim Smith, they organized that meeting,
Okay,
that initial meeting that I went there for like the third time with Tim Smith, Elizabeth, Nancy, had other people from the state go with them, and Tim brought up that grant for them.
okay, no,
And
that's
that's-
fine, I'm
So
just,
maybe that's what they were implying.
Yeah, I
tonight.
think
I mean, but
That's
they
what they
said
were talking
again
about.
today, are there any programs out there that we could utilize?
Right.
Well, they can pick up the phone as easy as you can.
Well, the way I look at it, they were picking our brains to see if we
Right.
knew of anything.
I think they were checking on that grant, seeing if we approved it.
Yeah, so,
Because
Okay,
they only
I don't
issued
wanna,
us the
I don't
first
wanna stir it
meetings,
up
right?
anymore, it's fine.
do you have anything
It's-
else, Michael? Okay,
That was,
so we go on to highway report.
They did I believe they've done the, Veterans Day flyer. I talked to Slim today, everything's pretty slow, they're putting winter tires on, you know, putting the salt, making sure everything's cleaned and greased and salt equipment, putting the posts on the back roads for the, you know, to see the sides of the roads. Other miscellaneous stuff. But, you know, it's kind of their transition year, waiting for snow, but it's hard to believe when it's 70 some odd degrees over the weekend.
Yeah, really.
I did have something outside of, I got a call from James Howarth, who's leasing the end of the Collister Road property, wanting to put gates up. One being to the right, that goes down towards the beaver pond on the right-hand side as you go up.
Yeah.
And he was willing, willing to share the key with the one property owner that's down there that might be, and he's spoken to him, and he said that property owner's open. The reason being is everybody there's continuous dumping of garbage there.
Yes, there is.
And then the other place they would like to put a gate is up near the turnaround spot, you know where the Skidoo Trail heads down in?
Yeah.
They've been doing work down there, and every time people are driving through and stuff. So I think it's fine that they do that as well. What I had to go meet with the listers is they were concerned that we would block off the existing McCollister Road, which apparently exists all the way to the town property, but it's as a trail, it's still on the books, but they wouldn't be blocking
It's
that.
like a class 4.
That's a trail, it's classified as a trail, but it's still on the books.
Yeah.
So, I guess my understanding from the listers was it would have to be select board approved to put those up. They recommend if we do approve it, that we get approval, we get it in writing from, not James, the actual property owner, and that property owner on the right-hand side that, is, agreeing to do it, and we get a key to the gate for you guys, that's for ambulance and fire, for sure.
You should have
And,
a site plan. It's what would be required by planning, to
I'm
put up,
DRB, not planning.
well, I'm sorry. Gates and fences and everything else fall out to zoning requirements.
even
And,
on roads,
I don't know. I mean,
We have to
ask
check
John
into
about
that.
it.
Yeah,
Ask John about it, but
I'll call John.
he should just, a rough drawing on a cocktail napkin with a,
Well,
you know,
I-
where it's gonna go.
Well, yeah, I could provide that.
Okay,
Um,
I'm just,
But, and then the other one is that, to build it up, where the turnaround spot is up there where that tank says, is to build it up and then put a gate so they can't drive, just drive vehicles down there.
Mhm.
They're not blocking off the snowmobile trail, they just don't want vehicles going down into the.
I understand, yeah, but again,
Yeah.
like, draw us a picture. And then we say we approve it, I'm sorry.
they may have, what may figure in here is because it's agricultural, that if they have signed the paperwork with the state to get themselves recognized as agricultural, they may be able to do the gates and the fences
Without.
irregardless.
Without
because-
anything, yeah.
Because they're,
Because ag is king.
because, yeah, but they have to file that and give the town a copy of it so that we know that the state's approved that.
Okay,
Alright,
that works.
okay, so I will continue to work on that. I'll talk to John, I'll ask about the ag piece. And then I'll bring it back to the board. If
Well, I
need be.
think, yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with you approving it.
Well, I don't even know if I have the authority.
Well, if you have all of the details,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I can make that motion if you want. If, after you do the research, you want to approve it, I'm fine with that.
Motion's been made.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, okay.
So what was the motion for?
You're done.
To, allow,
Gates.
Mr. Steenhauer to approve the gate projects on McAllister Road.
The end of the call, sir, okay.
Selectman Steenhauer.
I have a paper task. Is there any way that the town boys could go over behind the post office, next to the superintendent's office stairs and ramp, pull that AC that's been disconnected and the fencing around it, and throw it down the metal dumpster?
I can ask, yeah.
We can't take AC.
Oh, you can't, so what am I gonna do with that?
See Rick.
Huh?
See Rick.
Rick? Okay.
See,
Which, by the way, I have a pending complaint from another resident against Rick, that he's storing a lot of stuff on town property down there. And I haven't had a chance to follow up with John yet, because I always seem to miss him whenever he's here. And, but it's, I've had numerous people at my house complaining about it. And it's just a, over the fence type of,
Right. But we really should be looking at that really closely, because if we want to accent that river for canoeing and kayaking and make it beautiful all the way down through from the hockey stick factory all the way up through and have that as a center point of the town.
that's not the only property we're gonna have to look at.
Exactly, we
Yeah, right.
need
I'm
to
ju-
review that all the way down through there and make sure people are not on property, on town
Right.
property.
and you also
And
have to
I think-
look at the impact of the rail trail going through there.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah, so-
so I think that we really need to be looking at all that, all
I
the way
agree.
down through.
So do you still want me to have the town take it out and leave it and then have Rick pick
If
it
they
up?
would, yeah, if they would, I'll see if Rick will go over and pick it up, but the town, there's a fencing around it, metal gating or whatever, not much. They can pull it, get rid of it, that'd be great.
Alright, that's it.
That's all I have.
Okay, water and sewer, we beat that to death already. Parks, playground,
You
cemeteries.
skip buildings,
Did I?
I think.
Yeah, I did. I scrolled right past it.
That's
I
okay.
got a message from Tyler Gilmet stating that the crane, it will be here this week. First priority is removing the stone from the back of the parking lot and getting it on the roof. They just had a real issue getting like I said, ordered a new crane, his uncle did. And they're having a hard time getting it, so supposedly this week it's gonna be here. They've been trying, his first priority is to get up here and get that done.
If the rock doesn't get done, it won't impact the winter with what's up there.
It's gonna be taking away parking spaces and we'll have to.
Oh,
relocate it to
downstairs,
the
okay,
grass.
yeah, but
Yes.
it won't affect the new roof
No,
if it
not at
doesn't
all.
get up there,
No.
okay.
No, it's basically, I think, to hold it down,
Yeah, I
but
don't
it's
know.
already glued down, so
Yeah.
just an extra
I'm
precaution.
not a construction
And
guy.
it's a special rock, they're rounded, don't
Oh,
sharpen.
yeah,
their
sure,
edges.
no, I understand.
So we don't wanna lose them and just throw them away and try to get more, because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I get you.
Besides that, I was supposed to get a quote for that heat pump for the fire station. Have not gotten it yet. Called twice, left messages, haven't gotten it yet. Also for here, because I'm looking at pricing, because John's office upstairs has no heat. So I'd like to get something for some type of heat up there, and there's nothing we can do with the radiators up there, so he has like a little heater he plugs in, but it really doesn't work well up there. Too big of a room for height ceiling.
Okay.
Besides that, I think everything's going pretty good.
Alright. Now, parks, playground, cemeteries.
Yeah, I got a few things. First of all, I'd like to ask if you put on your fire hat.
That's also,
Yeah, I'm just to assist with decorating that tall evergreen tree in the middle of the Main Street Park. And they were denied 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I saw the emails. I just think that the fire department's been helping out a great deal in a lot of the community efforts. And the decorating committee is already upset because we've not cutting down that tree. So,
okay, so you're probably not gonna like what I have to say.
Mhm.
To set up that truck takes a big space.
okay,
And when you set up a ladder, you can set it up at one point. You can't go around the tree and set up on the other side. To do that, it would be very difficult to get in there for one thing, and to also maneuver the ladder around the tree to put the lights on. My suggestion is that, I don't know where you'd be able to get it, is one of those lifts that you're able to move as you're working around the tree,
like a cherry picker.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
So,
They don't have the budget for that.
Yeah.
The park doesn't have the budget
because
for it.
we set up for a fire, it's set up in one spot, and we either hover over it or,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or you
Is
just
there
don't do
any
it,
way-
I guess.
Is there any way to do it just top down? If you put the ladder to the top of the tree and string the lights down from a single point at the top of the tree?
I still think it'd be challenging, but it's probably more doable that way.
It's that and safety issue. Yeah.
Well, again,
But you're running a ladder with a guy on top, that rungs are constantly, I mean, either you have the guy come down every time you gotta move it.
no, I'm saying you wouldn't have to move it. If you put it to the top of the tree, and he has all the lights, and it comes down like maybe they buy a web and it goes down, whatever.
You still
That's a
have
big
to, you still have to fix what's coming down the tree. You throw a string of lights down and it only goes halfway, you have to lift the ladder, pull it back, then drop
Well,
it, is what I'm getting
I
at.
think that there might be other alternatives, like I was only partially kidding about,
Yeah, well,
Bobby
that's,
Peters, get hold of Bobby Peters, I think he has a little lift. He
I
may
could-
not charge us month.
well, I can try, but again, I'm in an odd position here, because,
and in fact, actually, the ladder truck is due to get decorated because of these, no one's reached out to us yet, but in the past, they've asked us to decorate the truck.
For that,
And,
for the
if
parade.
it's an emergency, yes, we're gonna put the ladder up,
yeah,
but once we get it lit, it's,
I got you, okay. I mean, I'll just report back to the people that do the lighting.
it's
And-
a very difficult thing to
Okay.
do, so.
All right, and I'll reach out to Bob, maybe.
But even
Make it-
Richie Wright, I believe they have a machine.
Yeah, Richie,
they all have lifts.
actually,
He's done it in
Richie,
the past.
Richie's helped out with the Lions Club with the clock, when the
Yeah.
clock needs to be.
Yes, so
And
he may
he's
have
been very
something,
good
and
with
they
it.
can
Maybe
drive
I'll
it.
ask him.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
You were talking about town crew doing some looking for some little jobs.
I don't think I said that, but.
No, to fill their schedule, because they're putting on the winter tires and they're,
Well,
you know.
I'm just prepping.
yeah, I understand. in the Main Street Park, D&D's in doing some work to adjust all of the outlets that are in there. We got a bid some number of months ago. And there's issues with the 3 lamps that are in there, the lamp posts.
Yeah.
And there's issues with the timer and, you know, because the lighting committee changes the timer so that the lights don't stay on all day. You know, so to activate the different outlets and stuff where they're plugged in. But they may need to trench something. And they don't trench D&D at all. I don't know, the town doesn't have a ditch witch or anything, do we?
I don't know, I can ask.
But apparently they've done it before at some other locations. I don't know,
I
but-
don't know either.
Just ask Slim about it, or I can go down there and ask
Yeah,
him.
you
if
might
you
just
want.
wanna go tell them.
Okay,
Give them a better idea what you're looking for.
yeah, it's just,
I mean, I'm guessing they're not gonna wanna dig by hand.
no, but I'm sure they have an attachment for something that can,
Maybe,
I don't know.
I don't, you could be right, I don't know.
I don't know for sure. And down at Davis Park, the ice rink for this year, the warming hut is going to be the converted kayak shed, and it's a project that the school is gonna do. And they wanna move the rink to the other side of the gazebo from where it was last year, and they want to make it bigger. And the town guys were down there today trimming all the limbs to make it possible. And
You wanna see if they can build it?
no, the question is the flagpole, because it would be in the middle of the ice. And so Slim said, let's, because it's powered because it has a light on the flag, and what he would like to do is just take the electric down, bury it, you know, put it in a container so it's still there, and either move the flagpole or make it a temporary, that they just take it out, store it for the winter. When the ice rink goes away, the flagpole goes back in.
If you want, go ahead.
That's what he talked about today,
Well,
so.
would it be easier just to, since we got the electric company here already, to move the flagpole? And then within the future, I mean, if we're gonna do this and do
Well-
it again next year, where would be,
Move the flagpole to a new spot.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could, I don't think it's a big issue, I don't know, I don't have a price to do it, but Slim seemed to think it would be easier, you know, because they even said, oh, put it in the middle of the ice and we'll have what they want to do is they're increasing the rink size
Yeah.
so that you can play hockey there. Okay, so it'll be big enough. And that's just an obstacle, the flagpole. Personally, it doesn't matter to me either way, because they're gonna move the shed from where it is right now over closer to that telephone pole where all the electric is.
Is it gonna border the driveway?
No, it won't go that far down, I don't think.
Cause I was just looking as filling,
Yeah.
is something we can just back up to.
Oh, it'll be close. It'll be close to it, but it won't infringe. I think it's gonna go over a little bit of that one path that goes there, the
Okay, that's-
asphalt
As
path.
long as we can back up to it.
Yeah. It would be much easier for you.
Yeah.
But and you can check with Kylie. I mean, she's the recreation director or whatever.
Okay.
And it's even been suggested that perhaps they could put up at least maybe some boards on the end, like, you know, in a typical hockey rink, and they could sell advertising on them. They could, like the Little League park, you know, they could get $100 for a sign on there for the month or whatever, the months of winter. And they are gonna electrify that shed in terms of, there'd be some lighting in there and I think some heat source.
Nice.
But that's all happening. And, the rest of things in parks are, we're just, you know, getting ready for winter. We stopped mowing the grass and, you know, So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so if you need to, ask him for that.
What's that?
Ask Jason to do that if you need him to.
Yeah, okay,
I'll give him a heads
I mean,
up.
I don't know if anybody else on the board thinks it's a big deal to have the temporary flagpole or
I mean, if
to move
if
it.
it's just a matter of,
Well, I think maybe probably revisit it in the spring if we're happy with the placement, maybe look at moving the flagpole so we don't have
Yeah.
to.
For this one,
Okay.
take it down and
yeah,
then
Okay,
relocate it for next spring.
works for me,
okay.
whatever you guys wanna do.
I'll message him in the morning and tell him
Okay.
you're gonna be on your way over or something.
You can come and knock on my door, I'm across the street.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
So, that's what I know. If anybody else has got stuff for me.
The only thing I don't, was there trash receptacles down there last year for the skating?
I don't know.
There
There was
is
not.
trash receptacles there now
There
on
is.
both ends.
Is there something we can place?
Well, as part of the budgeting process, we're gonna be replacing all of the town, trash receptacles so that they're dual. There's one for recycling, one for the trash.
This would be
And-
more temporary just for the ice.
Oh, and here's, yeah, no, I understand. Here's one for you, and it's back to water and sewer.
Yeah.
But it's related to the town guys. Jason was in today and he was pretty upset about the trash that's outside of the building up there. And, I mean, he was upset. He said
What building?
at the water plant.
Oh, okay.
It's unacceptable. And he said, you should be bringing this stuff down to the town dumpster, or we can get a dumpster to come up on a one-time deal or whatever the water department wants to do. But there's old equipment there and there's, just general rubbish, and I think they, eat their lunch and throw it out the window or something. I don't know. But I noticed it was kind of junky a couple times when I was up there, and Jason was adamant about getting it cleaned up.
I know they've had metal stuff out there before, like old pipes
Yeah.
and pumps and whatnot, but
So if, just pass the word along to our,
Jeremy, I'll
yeah.
take a ride out.
okay.
Anything else?
I don't wanna, stir this kettle anymore, but, hey, you know what's happening? The ability to redesign the trash program is quickly fading. And whether or not we wanna, make a charter amendment, it's gotta happen now. And because you got all kinds of 60 and 45-day windows that you have to abide by. And if you wanted it to go town meeting day, you're up against it right now. And I don't have the solutions. And I know people wanna have public input and all these other things, fine. But I don't see many of the solutions there. I don't know if anybody has other solutions. And it's a great service. I agree with Mr. Weatherby when he talked about in the village, it's kind of an extra nice thing. It's a self-supporting operation as it is now, but it takes far too much time for the town clerks to,
We need to have policies. I'm back on the policy thing. We can't have these people on it and those people not on it, and those guys have a dumpster and these people don't because they didn't pay their trash bill for a year. Now they're off and we got a dumpster for them from somewhere else. It's either all or nothing,
I agree. And I would,
pretty much. And we.
I think it should be a
we either
charter
just as bad
amendment.
or
If
as
they-
fault as the people out there not paying their bill because we allowed it and then at the same time we don't monitor it. We can't monitor it, so I think, personally, I think if we keep it, whoever's doing it, whoever gets the contract should be doing the billing. That way they know who pays and who don't pay.
I agree.
Point blank, I don't
But
think we should be
We've
billing.
gotten an opinion from VLCT that they can't really do it that way. It's like the water program. We can contract it out to somebody to run it, but we still handle all the billing and the money for it.
So, when Kristen talked to me, 3 years ago? She had said that the way it's written can be interpreted both ways. So
Okay.
you could easily have it, as long as we're monitoring it, by monitoring, we get the contracts for people, we get the contract, we say who wins the contract, the bid, and then that's who's one that's got the town, but they are responsible for their own billing.
Okay,
Cause that's
so
how
what,
our part of
then,
monitoring it.
why does the town wanna monitor it? Why wouldn't,
I'd
if
rather
they're
just
gonna,
get rid of
if they're
personally,
gonna do the billing and the collections and cutting people off or getting them to participate,
Does have it,
why would the town wanna be in it?
so do you have a proposal, or does anyone have a proposal on what you're looking for?
But
Amend the
we're
charter
talking
to,
two different things here, though.
Yeah.
Changing the charter doesn't mean we gotta get rid of the trash service, it just means that we're not required to do it, that the select board could make the decision. So why couldn't we
true.
just make the charter change and then select board can decide what they wanna do with the trash down the road?
well, that's fine.
We could do that.
And that's a simpler thing to do for just,
Yes, it is.
Well,
to
yeah.
work against a
I
time
mean,
frame.
you have to strike all of the current language, I think, is how it works, and you totally eliminate it, and, everyone in the town votes on it, not just the people in the special
And I
district.
agree with that 100%.
And,
That should be everybody. Everybody pays taxes.
I just think,
It's the whole town.
yeah,
Yeah, but not
but
everybody,
it's a, it's a separate program.
not everybody's allowed
They
into
don't
that
get the
program.
service, and
Right.
it's a separate, it's just like water and sewer.
It's just like nobody comes and picks up my leaves.
Yeah.
Same,
They all blew away, didn't they?
After I just mulch them, but, yeah, I mean, it's just a point. I don't get to push them to.
Yeah, no, I
I don't put them
understand.
beside the curb and expect
Yeah.
that they're gonna be picked up.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. But
I live in town.
I think it's
don't do
been,
that
I think it's been, and I agree, you can buy some time that way, however you wanna do it. But really, why does the town want to be in the trash business? It's a self-sustaining program, okay? Why do we wanna have anything to do with it? Because it could cost us money.
Probably does, doesn't it?
Not right now, it doesn't, because we keep increasing the rates to compensate for the people that don't pay their bills.
So what are we getting out of this tonight? You brought up the point, what are we gonna do about it? Is, I guess, my question.
My thing would be, I would like to propose that the town goes out of the trash business, which would require a charter change. And I can go and if it doesn't get approved, we're gonna have to stay in the business anyway, if the charter change wasn't approved, but
But the people would be voting on the charter change, not to get rid of the trash.
Right.
Right.
So,
but the charter change to the amendment would say, the entire trash section
Yeah, but-
of the
but
charter
if you-
would be struck.
but if you give
That's
it,
what it said.
but if you change the wording, strike what's there and reword it to give the town, the select board the authority to, however you wanted to word it.
Put it out to bid to collect for the town, or?
No, I think it has to be
Why?
vaguer than that, right,
Yeah,
right, Alan?
Yeah, just get rid of the thing in the charter that says we have to do the trash.
And just say the select board at its discretion may
We'll decide if we're gonna continue with the trash service, change it or
make.
eliminate it.
It's gonna be a lot more confusing.
No, I think we lock it down.
Yeah.
I don't think we say may. At its discretion will determine the viability, the feasibility
And again,
However you wanna word it.
on an annual basis.
I would ask again, why do we want to be in the trash business? Everybody out in the town does fine. They're not on the trash service.
Oh, it's a pain in the ass.
And
But what I'm saying is, what Alan's suggesting gives us the opportunity to get out of the trash business. So,
and then you're gonna have you're gonna take more heat when you do that.
I don't think so. I think it's a baby step thing.
Yeah.
I think that
And then-
gives us options.
All right, that's fine. I mean, I can work on it, and I'll get with Michael and we'll draft up the changes.
Well, I mean, I obviously we've got to make sure everybody's on the same page.
I'm gonna say it should be a draft and come before the board so we can all,
Approve it
Yeah.
before it goes on to.
Yeah, and it would have to
It's
be
just
the
gonna
next
be right
meeting
for them.
because, like I said, we're up against
So Michael,
timelines.
would it be Michael, would you want, I mean, who do you want? to
Alan's
write up-
really familiar. Do you want to help
You
him try
want-
to
Write up
play with that
something?
wording?
That'd be great.
That's
And then
fine.
we can look at it next
I
meeting and then
just-
go on the
I
voting.
personally, and maybe because I'm mostly stupid, I don't understand what changing the charter to make it a select board, at the select board's discretion.
One thing, it would put us in compliance, that we had
Compliance with what?
half the people in town already have dumpsters and we allowed it.
I don't think that would help. That's not
That
necessary.
just makes it clear, you know what I mean?
No, what I'm
I
saying
don't
is,
get rid of it,
why do
so.
we wanna even
I understand.
invest the time in it? Even if it's at select board discretion or otherwise.
It allows us, it'll give us the option to either continue or discontinue. We
Tell
don't,
me reasons why we would want to continue it.
If it's a good service at a reasonable price, that, and they can handle it down, you know, Kylie can deal with it.
And if you word it where you're gonna get rid of the service, there's gonna be a bunch of people in town that do not agree with that.
They don't agree with it,
Yeah, and that's what we've already run up against.
You know, what's wrong with giving the board the option to make a decision?
Okay, so, they vote for the charter change, and the charter change says that the board now has the, ability to do away with trash if they so decide. How does that happen?
we just don't renew a contract, and basically it says, you know, the town is out of business.
So why wouldn't we do that initially?
Because we're not ready to make that full leap, that's the problem, like, I don't see what, where are we losing you?
Why aren't we ready to make that leap?
Well, not everybody's at the same position you are,
Well,
I mean, that's the
I
clear cut
I
answer.
agree, yeah.
I mean, you.
it's fine. I mean, I know I'm on the service, I like the service, but I would
I'm
just
not on the
as soon get
service,
rid
and
of it.
I mean, I would rather have some trash pickup in here than none in town.
Well, but
I-
you're gonna have it because they'll privately contract with whoever
Yeah.
they wanna
Either
use.
that, or they're gonna hoard it in their house or in
Yeah.
their garage, and it's gonna.
And then it's a zoning issue.
Well, and we don't deal with those well yet, so.
I was
mean,
gonna
it's
say,
not- it's not-
there's plenty of hoarders in town
I know,
not being taken care of.
So I just think that gives us more flexibility and options.
that's fine. I will
I-
react to the board. I don't understand it.
Well, that's
But-
fine, you don't have, there's things I don't understand.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's good.
Alright, any other business? Since we're on,
I have something, but it's something we'd have to go into executive for.
the only thing I mentioned earlier, we have had overdoses down at the park. And there's been mention that we can't get a rig down in there to put people, we basically get a small vehicle to squeeze through the rocks, throw the person in the back and get them up to the ambulance to treat them.
Which park are we talking about?
Overlook.
You can't come from below?
You can't come from over by Clausen's down that one?
We go over by Clausen's, but once you get down there, there's boulders.
Oh,
blocking
you're
it.
talking, you're talking.
Right down- right down by the river
Where they got
edge.
the theater thing, okay.
Yeah, actually, it's over around the backside, there's a burn pit or a fireplace.
That's what that people have created.
Yep, and it was being used today, so.
Yep, that's not town land right there,
That is.
that belongs to the yellow apartment building down to the river.
Or does it?
Yeah, and it's not supposed to have open fires.
Into.
No, well, that's a part of the conditional use for that. It was a day use only and no fires.
So something needs to be sent to the landowner.
If you guys have got a complaint, then give that to John. If you have that there's fires there, that is against their conditional.
Yeah, that little theater and stuff all belongs to the.
So it's on the
yellow
other side of that theater, that,
Towards like out by
the water, the,
up towards
The
the
trail?
the wood, the firewood guys place, up heading
no,
up.
no, back this way
Yeah,
towards
towards
John's.
John's.
Oh, towards John's.
Yeah,
So-
it's
Near the
actually,
pumping station.
yeah, close to the pumping station.
That might be the town.
Or,
It's town property if it's behind the
I
pumping
don't
station.
know, I don't know
Yeah,
what lines are.
We can check with the listers.
so, do you want me to do we wanna have the town crew
Yes.
move stones?
One to get down there, that's all it takes. It's, someone put the stones there so people couldn't get down there, but they still can.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
Do you want me to just have the town crew get with Joey to show them which one it
Yeah,
is?
you'll know exactly which one.
Perfect.
And you might wanna, if you could ask John to just take a walk down there to see what it is and
Who owns it?
who owns it, and yeah, we'll address that. There's a, you know, we got a couple hangouts here in town, one's in the back of
Yeah.
the old
Mhm.
Mason
Masonic
building,
building.
yeah. That's
It's been reduced some though, since they moved the trailer
It
and
is, but
striped a lot.
there's another meeting space down near the river that they, yeah, so.
And right now, there's a giant sinkhole starting on that side road between the Sugar's building and Weatherby's building. Cause I came around to get a better angle to park tonight, and you can almost not drive past it. And it's
Behind Weatherby's?
yeah, and the side road, on the side.
Yeah,
If you go around behind and come up between those two buildings,
okay.
it's as wide as the lane. And, you know, you drive off into the bushes.
So it's a sinkhole going down into the river?
Yeah, and no, it's
It's just a
separate
pothole.
from that. It's a pothole, but it's,
Going away, yeah,
It's-
okay.
you know,
Okay, Sherry, what you have to bring up in executive, is it gonna come to a vote after?
No,
Okay,
I don't believe so.
so if there's no other business at this time, I look for a motion to go into executive.
I'll make that motion.
And what's it about?
Personnel.
Personnel. I'm like,
Okay.
personnel.
All right, all those in favor?
I,
I
Go into executive.